A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the jungles of South America and a seething tale of terror and violence as told by James Poe in Bloodbath, starring Mr. Vincent Price.
By portaging the rapids and walking the mules in the shallower stretches, we'd managed to get our supplies and equipment more than 1,700 miles up the river. After this, further navigable passage being impossible, we'd traveled by foot, hacking our way through the thick, steaming jungle, coaxing and goading the heavily laden beasts. We'd left the jungle and begun the climb. 11 days later, high in the Andes, we found our objective. We set to work, hard work. And then, on a hazy afternoon in late May, we found it. I shall never forget the scene. Below us, the mountains swung down to the jungle which stretched eastward, far as the eye could see. The peaks above us had cut off the setting sun, and the light had a curious violet quality. The dank, chill wind, whispering and gusting, set the sparse timber scrubs to trembling and shuddering, and the mules, disdainful of their 5 strange masters, foraged the cacti and dwarf pine. The instruments were set up and the specimens were at hand, and now, crouched and tense, we leaned forward.
How about it, Hess?
Wait. The tube's got to warm up. Come on.
Wait, will you?
I've waited 5 years for this moment.
500, you mean? 5 million. Come on, Hessie.
How about it, Hess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Give him the sample, O'Brien.
Yeah, here.
Come on, baby. Shut up, will you? Here goes. Switch on. Holy cow. Good. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah?
Come on, Hessie. What's the word?
Yeah, Hessie, give. Gentlemen.
Unless this machine is busted, unless this Geiger counter has forgotten its multiplication table, we have discovered the richest lode of uranium ore known to man.
I won't go into the details of how we'd come to locate the ore, because that's a story in itself. Suffice it to say that late in the afternoon of that hazy May day, the 5 of us, gamblers all, came to the end of our rainbow, found our pot of gold.
The vein runs all the way up the side of the mountain.
Must be worth $1 million.
$1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion.
Do you boys realize what we've got here?
Sure we do.
We've got the world at our feet. Why, the man who gets the strike registered in his name can be a king. Every country in the world is going to come running up to him with trunks full of money and power.
You tell him, Hessie.
Power?
Yeah, we'll make the United States the most powerful nation on earth.
Why the United States?
Oh, you wouldn't sell to anybody else, would you?
I'm a businessman, Harris.
You're a fool.
No. I'm a businessman.
$1 trillion.
Oh, gents, we've got the world at our feet.
Split 5 ways.
The world at our feet split 5 ways. That night, as I lay huddled under my thin blanket, I wondered what it would be like being a wealthy man. Wondered if it were really true. Wondered how it would affect the others, how it would affect me. In the morning, we were to set off on the long return journey down to the jungle and through the jungle to the launch and down the river to civilization. There we'd register our claim, purchase, if need be, the land, lease it perhaps from the government. Oh, millionaires. The world at our feet. Uranium. Enough to blow up the whole universe. Power.
Harris, wake up.
What's...
Wake up, Harris, wake up.
Oh, good morning, millionaire.
Please, wake up.
The sun's coming up. Hey, where are the others?
They're gone.
Gone?
Yes, Dumont and O'Brien. They took the mules and most of the food and cut out.
When?
How do I know when? Sometime during the night.
But why?
Why? $1 trillion, that's why.
Oh, no.
Once they get down to the jungle, they'll have to travel on foot. There's 10 days' march to the river. If they beat us to the boat, we're stuck with 1,500 miles of jungle between us and safety.
50? Impossible. We'd never make 100.
That's right. We've got to catch 'em, or we're dead.
We traveled as lightly as possible. It was a risky business, doubly so because O'Brien and Dumont had taken our guns with them. The only weapons we had between us were one long machete and 2 pocket knives. These would be of little protection against jaguars, bushmasters, tapirs, boa constrictors, and the rest of it. Fortunately, they'd left our number one necessity to survival. They'd forgotten to take our quinine. This and our food was all we carried. The long descent to the jungle was slow going on foot. It was here that we nearly gave up hope. We moved as fast as we could, but we were no match for men who were riding. But we reached the jungle. Then things took a better turn. Here, the thick vines and heavy undergrowth was, we knew, almost an impossible hazard for a riding man. And we could see their boot prints mingled with those of the mules. We knew that they were having trouble, too. The animals were afraid of many things in the jungle, would balk suddenly, require careful handling. We pushed ahead as rapidly as possible, battling mosquitoes, fume flies, matukas, and the blood-sucking carpazo ticks, and, of course, the jungle itself with its never-ending barrage of razor grasses, needle vines, swamps, bog traps, and so forth. It was hot, stinking hot, and the going was hard, but we had to make it. We couldn't travel at night. They'd taken our flashlight. We'd bundle up as best we could, protecting ourselves not from the cold. It was hot and muggy even at dawn, but from the mosquitoes. And as we progressed towards the river area, from the bats. Vampire bats. Ever seen them? They're small, rather fragile-looking little things. By day, they hang heads down from the trees, wings folded like clusters of rotten fruit. By night, they hunt. They have razor-sharp teeth, bite like the finest steel scalpels. Their object is to break the skin very delicately, start the blood to coming, and then they simply hang on and sip. Without mosquito netting, we had a rough time of it, a sleepless time. But we managed to keep on going. And on the 3rd day...
No use, fellas. We can't make it to the river before them.
We've got to, Luigi. We've got to make it right, Wayne.
And even if we do catch up, they got the guns. Huh? What are you talking about?
Quiet. I heard something. What did you hear?
Gunfire.
Yeah. Come on. They can't be more than a mile or two ahead. Come on.
We ran through the jungle, following the fresh marks of the animals and the 2 men. And a half an hour or so later, we broke into a little clearing, and there was Dumont.
He's dead.
Shot in the back.
Good old sweet guy, that old...
Here, come on. Let's turn him over.
Really been sweating, huh?
Yeah, it's malaria. See his face?
Good old Obie.
And Dumont came down with malaria, probably started to slow him down.
Sweet guy, Come on. Come on, let's go.
Hey, they should have remembered the quinine.
I got no sympathy for Dumont. You know what'd be nice? What? If that Obie should get malaria now.
Yeah. He'd be helpless.
He'd ask me for quinine. I'd throw him a stone.
On we went. Now there were no boot marks with the mule tracks. Apparently O'Brien was riding one of the animals. From time to time we'd see a flurry of tracks turned up as though he had to dismount to tug one of the beasts back onto the trail. We followed the tracks for another 2 days, and then on the 6th day, we found one of the mules.
How you feeling, boy? Huh? Where's your saddle?
He really looks big. Look at those marks on his flanks.
Vampire bats.
Yeah.
That leaves O'Brien on foot.
Yeah.
Hey, you hear that?
It's the launch. Where's the river? He's starting the motor. Come on.
It wasn't very far, just a few hundred yards, and the path was strewn with O'Brien's discarded supplies. Quite suddenly, we came out of the jungle and onto a narrow white sandbar. The river. And there, not 30 feet away from us, just drifting off into the deep, dark, fast-moving waters, was O'Brien in the launch. O'Brien!
Look at him. He's like a skeleton.
The launch lurched dizzily as it floated downstream. O'Brien was feeble, sweating, possessed. He had the fever, had it bad.
Come on, let's go after
You
him.
can't. This is piranha water.
Cannibal fish. They'll eat you, Happy.
Hey, Obie! Hey, you know me, Obie! Your old pal, Happy! Hey, what do you say, Obie, huh? He staggered dizzily about the cockpit trying to start the engine. He was laughing, and he was so weak that he could barely spin the flywheel to the kicker.
Obie! He's back! Good Lord, he's in the water.
The fish, the piranhas!
They got him.
I ain't gonna look at this. One moment we saw him swimming weakly, his large, fever-ridden eyes turned imploringly toward us, and the next moment he was gone, leaving only a large red churning patch on the water. The piranhas are small, rarely more than 12 or 14 inches long, small fish with large, powerful jaws, teeth like broken glass, and an insatiable, maniacal appetite for flesh. The launch, caught by the deep, fast-moving waters, rocked softly this way and that and moved on downstream. Away. Away around a bend and out of sight.
The march of science over the years has produced better than ever gasoline for your car. But now science adds one of the greatest gasoline components of all. It's called xylene. Xylene, a super gasoline component, adds two great qualities to gasoline. Xylene gives higher than ever anti-knock performance. Xylene means power. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. If you want a motor that runs quiet as a whisper, if you want pickup and power to spare, try Richfield gasoline with xylene. Your Richfield dealer offers a choice of two great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for tip-top results in the highest compression motors. Drive in where you see the Richfield Eagle and the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. Xylene, one of the highest anti-knock components in gasoline history. And now we return you to Escape, starring Vincent Price.
We picked over the supplies O'Brien had left on the shore. There wasn't much we wanted. A gun without ammunition, a few tins of food, a tent and some bedding, cooking equipment, a coil of rope. We loaded these things onto the mule and set off through the jungle, downstream along the river's course. 1,500 miles to civilization. We had it tough. The jungle was thick along the river's bank, and we made little progress. Not more than 5 miles that day, but the next day, We rounded a bend, keeping close to the shore, and there, about a quarter-mile below us and nuzzling the opposite shore, grounded on the sand, lay the launch.
Looks shallow enough here.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but what about the fish?
How deep does it look to you, Harris? It's the deepest spot, I mean.
Oh, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet, maybe 3.
Most of it's less than that.
I got an idea.
Shoot.
We got to get across the launch, see? So here's what we do. We throw away everything. There'll be food and water in the launch, see?
Yeah?
Now, you see that little patch of sand in the middle of the river where the bar shows?
Yeah.
We go that way. That's bound to be the shallowest way, see?
How do we go?
On the mule, the three of us.
Ah, you're nuts.
This mule ain't in such bad condition it can't get the three of us across 70 feet of shallow water.
What do you say, Harris?
Why not?
All right, I'll get aboard first.
Come on. Get farther up, Wingsy. You're the lightest.
Yeah.
Harris, you get on next. Hang on to Wingsy. Here. Carry this coil of rope around your neck. We may need it. I've got the machete strapped to my back.
You set, Wayne?
Yeah.
Now hold tight to me, Hess.
Don't worry. If I go, you go too.
Yeah.
And if he goes, I go. So let's hang on, gents.
Yeah.
Let's really hang on.
As long as he's moving fast, he can't get at his legs. Ain't that right?
He's not showing anything to him but hooks and hair.
Hold his head up, Wayne. Don't let him look down.
You all set?
Yeah, all set.
All right, here we go. Get off. Come on. Come on, baby.
I felt the mule lurch when he stepped into the water. The sand was softer here than on the shore.
Sand, huh?
Ahead, not 40 feet away, lay the little spit of land. The mule refused to run, couldn't run, and before he'd taken 10 steps, I knew he was too weak to support the three of us. From every direction in the swirling water about us came small, shadowy, dark shapes.
Come on.
The piranhas.
Don't stop. Come on, baby.
Come on.
Keep moving, baby. Come on. Move along, baby.
He can't do it.
You gotta do it, baby. Come on. What are those?
The piranhas were churning the water about us, and coming in from beyond them were 4 or 5 long, dark shapes, 6 and 7 feet long, thick and wriggling electric eels.
They'll sting them. Get along. To the back.
Get into the sandbar.
Faster. Come on.
Made it.
It's true about electric eels. I can throw a jolt that'll kill a jaguar. Make it jaws like a vice.
So, here we are, gentlemen, stuck. Just 30 feet of water between us and the shore. Get across it, and we can get to the launch and the civilization and all the rest.
Oh, the three of us are too much for that mule.
Only 30 feet. Why, you could run it in seconds.
You see those little shadows around us in the water?
I see those little shadows around us. You don't have to draw pictures.
Hey,
Here's another bright idea coming up.
as a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, hold on to your hat, Harris.
We got that coil of rope.
Yes.
The mule could carry one of us. That mule's not in such bad shape, you know.
Yes.
Tie the rope over his bridle. Then one of us pulls him over with him fast. You see, one rides, and then the other two pull him back.
Yeah?
And the next one gets on.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh, he can't stay here.
It's a natural.
Who goes first?
Me, on account I'm the lightest. I won't tire him so much.
How about it, Harris?
All right.
Well, get going then.
Okay. Tie that rope to his bridle.
I'm doing it.
All right, give me the machete.
What do you want the machete for?
I want it, that's all. Gimme.
Okay.
All right, now you two get at the end of the spit. Because when you pay out the line, you don't get it caught in his legs.
Well, you think of everything.
That's right. I'm a smart boy.
Ready with the line.
You sure it's tied fast to the bridle?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No funny business, Weems. All we got to do is jerk this rope once while you're over that water and you're done for.
You're a sharp article.
That's right.
But not sharp enough. Hey,
Weems, you cut the rope!
come on, suckers!
The rope. Our only salvation was cut. And now Weems, grinning and riding, was out into the stream, heading for the shore and safe. He went not 15 feet when one of the long, dark, wriggling shapes made for the mule and got his leg. The mule reared up on his hind legs, the eel clinging to his foot, pumping paralyzing shots into him. Weems clutched his neck with one hand and slapped him on the flank with the flat of the machete with the other. The mule came down and more eels went for his legs. He began to lurch sideways. Weems swung the long steel blade in an arc, barely missing the mule's leg, and connected with one of the eels. Hair seemed to stand on end. His other arm released the mule's neck. The arm holding the blade was extended stiffly, still caught in the thick, muscular back of the electric eel. And then the mule reared again, and Weems fell back into the water. The mule, freed of Weems, made the shore and vanished into the jungle. We turned away. No man could watch what was happening to Weems and retain his sanity. And so, there we were, Hess and I on that sand spit which the river was slowly washing away. Night coming, the vampire bats coming, and all about us, the electric eels and the little cannibal fish waiting. There was no moon. There were evil stars, red and yellow. There was a black sky, and against it, blacker shapes, the vampire bats. We waved our arms and kept them off, but again and again during that long and terrible night, they brushed against us, squealing and squeaking, trying to get us. Dark, evil, thirsting bats. 1,000 years later came the dawn.
That water's taken a lot of sand away. This thing isn't much bigger than a card table. Look at them. Look at those fish. You'd think they had enough to eat yesterday. Listen, Harris. No matter what happens now, at least you and I have played it square, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Shake my hand, Harris.
All right.
Because I think I got an idea on how we can get out of here.
What?
Yeah. Look up there. Yeah. See that vine hanging down from the big tree?
It's over the water, and it must be 15 feet up.
Yeah, but if you were on it, you could do a Tarzan to the shore.
The rope?
That's right. Now, if we can just lasso the end of that and pull tight, we'll have enough swing to make it across. Swing like a pendulum, if you follow me. One guy gets on the other shoulders to swing over to get the start, see? Then when he gets to shore, he fastens a rock and swings the rope back to the other.
That vine will hold. It'll work. It took us 2 hours before we managed to lasso the end of that vine. And then we tested it again and again until we were positive it would hold a man's weight. And then we were ready.
Stand good and steady now, pal. I'm going to go easy on you, but don't shake. Because if you throw me in that water, I'm a gone guy.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Good luck. Here.
I felt his feet leave my shoulders, and then he was off, skimming the water with his feet drawn up, and then, miraculously, he was on the shore. Good boy! Good boy!
Yeah.
Like a breeze, huh?
Like a breeze.
Hey, any rocks around there?
Sorry.
He smiled at me and shrugged, and then looked down the stream at the launch. I knew that smile, that $1 trillion smile. It said, "So long, sucker." Don't do it, Hef. Send me the rope.
You're too nice a guy, Harris. You and I would never get along.
You can have it all, Hef. Every scrap of it. Only for the love of mercy, send me the rope.
No, you want some. You wouldn't approve of what I mean to do with it.
Hef! He stood there laughing at me and shaking his head slowly. But above him, just over his head, was another vine, thick and mottled, and it was moving. Look out, Hef! Hef! He didn't understand or didn't hear me. Just stood there smiling and shaking his head. The boa constrictor dropped heavily and accurately, a thrashing tangle of scaly musk. The sun was hot, blistering hot. I was alone, all alone, except for the ever-waiting piranhas. Hess's body was hidden by the low, scrubby vines and palmettos. Several hours later, I saw the boa, now gorged, slither lumpily away. I waited, and I waited. From time to time, I thought of stepping out into the stream. It would be over very quickly, I told myself, very quickly. I couldn't. And then I noticed an odd thing. The current which had been sweeping the sand away had shifted slightly. A whim, a miracle. And now new sand from some sunken bar was beginning to pile up between me and the shore, grain by grain, rib by rib. I watched it. And I watched. And I watched. And at 5 o'clock that afternoon, I walked ashore to the lawn. Didn't even get my feet wet. It's nice where I live. Quiet little streets, nice people, nice kids, nice country. Peaceful. Nice peace. I know where there's enough uranium to blow it all to hell. Want it? Just go up the river. Up the river, it's for the taking. Ask Dumont and Obie and Weems and Hess. $1 trillion worth. Enough to give the whole world a bloodbath. Yourself included.
Warm summer weather makes you think of baseball games, picnics, and holiday driving. But be sure your car's ready when you are. Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service, the service that puts your car in top shape for warm weather driving. With Richfield All-Point Safety Service, you get a careful all-point lubrication job that protects the chassis, transmission, and differential. You get lubricants that stick to your car's ribs no matter what the temperature. You get the protection of Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, the Pennsylvania premium-grade oil that cleans as it lubricates. You also get a safety check of batteries, spark plugs, tires, and radiator, and expert service if your car has automatic transmission. The Richfield gasoline dealer is specially trained to protect your car against wear and breakdown. So get Richfield All-Point Safety Service tomorrow. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. And tonight starred Mr. Vincent Price. Bloodbath was written by James Poe. Others in the cast were Wally Mayer, Ted DeCorsia, Paul Frees, and Tony Barrett. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, dreading to find what you know is there. Death in the form of a deadly bushmaster from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape to the Caribbean and a grim voyage of impending death, as Martin Storm tells it in his exciting tale, A Shipment of Mute Fate. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pump. Tonight, we escape to a tropic harbor in Venezuela, and the story of a grim voyage of impending death, which started from there. As Martin Storm tells it in his exciting story, A Shipment of Mute Fate.
I stopped on the wharf at La Guaira, looked up at the gangplank, toward the liner Chankay. Standing there quietly are our moorings. The day was warm under a bright tropic sun, and the harbor beyond the ship lay drowsy and silent. But all at once, in the midst of those peaceful surroundings, a cold chill gripped me, and I shivered with sudden dread of the thing I was doing and was about to do. But too much had happened to turn back now. I'd gone too far to stop. I set the box down on the edge of the wharf and placed it carefully so as to be in plain sight and within gunshot of the captain's bridge. Then I turned and started up the gangplank. I knew what I was going to do. But I couldn't forget that a certain pair of beady eyes were watching every move I made. Eyes that never blinked and never closed. Just watched and made. Pardon me.
You startled me, sir. I didn't... Oh, that's Mr. Warner.
Hello, Mother Willis. How's the best-looking stewardess on the Seven Seas?
Oh, I'm fine, Mr. Warner. It's nice to see you again.
Wait a minute. That's a fine greeting after 2 months.
Well, it's just that I'm so busy.
Oh, don't believe a word of it. Sailing days tomorrow. You're simply avoiding me, that's all.
Oh, no, really, I'm
and
not.
on the trip down from New York, you said I was your favorite passenger.
But I'm
Here, what's that you're carrying in your apron?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just supplies.
Supplies, huh? Let's have a look.
Oh, no, please.
Why, it's a cat.
It's Clara, Mr. Warner. Mr. Bowman said I had to leave her ashore, but I just couldn't.
Well, who's Mr. Bowman?
The new chief steward. Clara's been aboard with me for 2 years, and I just can't leave her here in a foreign country, especially with her condition so delicate now.
Yes, I see what you mean. Well, I hope you get away with it.
Oh, you won't tell anyone, huh?
Not a soul. Matter of fact, Mother Willis, if I don't get my way with the captain, you and I may both end up smuggling.
Happy to have had you aboard on the trip down 2 months ago, Christopher. I'm very glad you're coming along with us on the run back to New York.
Thanks, Captain Wood. There is one thing, though. I'm having a little trouble with the customs man here, and I wondered if you
I can't do it, Christopher. I just cabled your father this morning, told him I'd have done it for you if I possibly could. He sent a request from New York, you know.
Yes, I thought he would. I wired him from upriver last week.
Well, I hated to refuse, but it's absolutely out of the question.
Captain Wood, I'm afraid I don't follow you.
Responsibility to the passengers, son. We'll have women and children aboard. And on a liner, the safety of the passengers comes ahead of anything else.
But with proper precaution.
Something might happen. I don't know what, but something might.
You've carried worse things, Captain.
There isn't anything worse, Christopher. And any skipper afloat will bear me out. No, I simply can't take the chance. And that's final.
Final. Wasn't final if I could do anything about it. I hadn't come down here to spend 2 months in that stinking backcountry and then be stopped on the edge of the wharf. 2 months of it. Heat, rain, insects, malaria. I'd gone clear in past the headwaters of the Orinoco. Traveled through country where every step along the jungle trail might be the last one. Sanchez.
Si, Senor Warner.
Better tell the men to start looking for a place to camp. It'll be dark in a little while.
Si, Senor. Very soon we turn to river. Camp on rocks by water. This very bad country.
It's very bad country. You've been saying that for 10 days now. Very bad country.
Si, Senor Warner. This very bad country.
Skip it, will you? For all the luck we've had so far, it might as well be Central Park.
Central Park? I don't understand.
Never mind. But if we don't find something to... Yeah, what's the matter? Quiet now. Sanchez, what's wrong?
There in the park. See? Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. The deadliest snake in the world. Bushmaster. Its Latin name was Letitia mutus. Mute face. It lay there in the center of the path. An 8-foot length of silent death, coiled loosely in an undulant loop, ready to strike violently at the least movement. Here was the one snake that would go after any animal that walked, or any man. It lay there and watched us, not moving, not afraid, ready for anything. The splotch of its color stood out like a horribly gaudy floor mat lying there on the brown background of the jungle, waiting for someone to step on it. Here was what I'd come 2,000 miles for. A bushmaster. Sanchez! I didn't want that snake killed.
He no kill, senor. He gone. Bushmaster very smart, very quick. See bullet in time to dodge.
Anyway, he's gone. The only one we've seen in 5 weeks.
Oh, we find others. This very bad country.
Well, lay off that gun next time. Don't shoot, you understand?
Why you say no shoot? You want Bushmaster?
Sure, but I want it alive.
Hombre, Sacristo. Senor Warner, you tell me you want Bushmaster, but you don't say alive.
You're getting $200 for it.
For dead man, what is $200? Tomorrow we go back to Caracas.
I'll make it 500, Sanchez.
I catch water snake, rattlesnake, any other kind, but I no catch Bushmaster. We go back to Caracas.
Sanchez, I'll give you $1,000. It cost me $1,500. 3 days later, Sanchez brought me the snake in a rubber bag. He was shaking so hard I thought for a moment the thing had struck him.
One thing you make sure, Senor Warner. No turn him loose in Venezuela. Because he know I the one who catch him. And he know where I live.
All right, Sanchez, I'll keep an eye on him.
También he know you pay me to catch him. All the time he watch and wait for you too. You no forget that, Senor Warner, because he no forget. Not ever.
Well, after going through all that trouble and danger, I wasn't going to let a pig-headed ship's captain stop me at the last minute. At least not as long as the cables were still in operation between La Guaira and New York. Morning, Captain Wood. Boy at the hotel said you wanted to see me.
Yes, that's right, Christopher. Now, sit down.
Thanks.
Well, it seems you weren't willing to let matters stand the way we left them yesterday.
I was sorry to go over your head, Captain, but I had to. The museum sent me all the way down here for it, and I'm not going to be stopped by red tape. Don't you realize this will be the only live Bushmaster ever brought to the United States?
Well, if I had my way... orders are orders. Got a cable from the head office this morning. All right, suppose we talk about precautions.
I'll handle it any way you say.
Well, it's got to have a stronger box. That crate's too flimsy.
Stronger than it looks, Captain. That wire screen on top would hold a wildcat. But anyway, I bought a heavy sea chest this morning. We'll put the crate inside of that.
Well, that sounds all right. It got a lock on it?
Heavy padlock. It's fixed so the lid can be propped open a crack without unlocking it. The snake's got to have air, you know.
But in dirty weather, that lid stays shut. I'll take no chances.
Fair enough.
We'll keep the thing in my inside cabin where I sleep. Can't have it in the baggage room. And nobody on board's to know about it. Understand?
Whatever you say, Captain. But we won't have any trouble. After all, it's only a snake. Doesn't have any magical powers.
Yes. You know, Christopher, I saw a Bushmaster in the zoo at Caracas once. Had it in a glass cage with double walls. It'd never move. Just lay there and look at you as long as you were in sight. Give a man the creeps.
I didn't know they had a Bushmaster at the Caracas Zoo.
They don't now. Found the glass broken one morning and the snake gone. The night watchman was dead. They never found out what happened.
Well, the watchman must have broken the glass by accident some way.
The way they figured it, the glass was broken from the inside. We sail in 4 hours.
Into the Caribbean, with perfect weather and the sea as smooth as an inland lake. The barometer dropped a little on the third day, but cleared up overnight and left nothing worse than a heavy swell. And in spite of the calm seas and the pleasant weather, I was becoming possessed with an ominous anxiety. I was developing an obsessive fear of that snake. I stayed clear of the passengers pretty much. Got the habit of dropping into Captain Wood's quarters several times a day. He kept the heavy box underneath his berth. I'd approach it quietly and shine my flashlight through the open crack. Never once could I catch that 8-foot devil asleep or even excited. He'd be lying there half-coiled, his head raised a little, staring at me with those beady black eyes, waiting. He'd still be like that when I turn away to leave. Maybe that's what bothered me. That horrible and constant watchful waiting. What in the name of heaven was he waiting for?
Well, hello there, Mr. Warner.
Oh, how are you, Mother Willis?
My, but you and the captain spend an awful lot of time around this cabin. I'm beginning to think the two of you must have some guilty secret.
Nah, nothing like that, Mother Willis. I don't know about Captain Wood, but I certainly don't have any guilty secret. Well, he's running quite a swell out there, Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, it's a little heavy, all right, Mr. Warner. Guess the storm passed through to the west of us yesterday when the glass dropped.
Think it missed us then, huh?
Yeah, that's what the mate figures. Sure stirred up some water, though.
This will put half the passengers in their bunks.
Makes it great for my department. 2/3 of them want a steward to hold their heads.
They'll keep Mother Willis so busy. Hey, look at the size of that wave.
What? Great, you hugged us. Now we're going to take you on the port bow. Hang on.
Wow. That was a freak if there ever was one. Not another wave that size in sight.
You see them like that sometimes, even in a calm sea. I got to get topside, Mr. Warner. That water probably did some damage on the opposite deck.
Yeah, I suppose. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah?
What did you say?
The wheel companionway was open on the port side. Bridge cabins must have taken a pretty bad smashing. They're right below. Something wrong, Mr. Warner?
No. No, nothing at all, Mr. Bowman. At least I hope not. course, I knew it was only one chance in 1,000. But the chances against that freak wave were 1 in 1,000, too. I stumbled up the companionway and along the passage to the captain's cabin.
Oh, come on in, Mr. Warner.
Mother Willard.
My, isn't this cabin a mess? I'm trying to get some of these things out to dry.
Yeah. I just wanted to check. Where's that box that was under the captain's bunk?
Oh, that? Well, I just threw it out on deck here.
What?
Well, the desk over there slid into it. It was all smashed.
But the small box inside of it, what happened to it?
Oh, they were both splintered, Mr. Warner. Broke wide open.
Oh, no.
Why, Mr. Warner, you're white as a sheet.
Mother Willard, will you go find Captain Wood? Tell him to come down here immediately.
Well, of course, Mr. Warner. I'll go tell him right away.
I pulled open the top drawer of the bureau beside me and took out the captain's flashlight and a loaded pistol. Mother Willis had left a mop standing by the door. I put my foot on the head of it and snapped off the handle. Every move I made turned into slow motion. I could hear my own heart beating. Slowly, I started to search the cabin. Sodden heaps of clothing were scattered around on the wet, black floor. I punched at them one at a time, holding the gun cocked, the flashlight pointing along the stick. Nothing. I worked around the room, throwing the light into the dark corners. Back at the desk. Under the bunk. And wherever I turned, I could feel those cold, unblinking eyes at my back, watching and waiting. Using the stick, I pushed open the closet door and threw the light inside. Carefully, I poked at the boxes and the junk on the floor. The snake was not in the closet. Inch by inch, I covered the entire cabin. And then I realized the horrible truth.
Mother Willis just told me, Christopher.
Captain.
So it's happened.
That's right, Captain. It's happened.
I see you found the gun. We'd better start searching the cabin.
Captain Wood, I just finished searching it.
Then... women, kids, and that thing loose on board. 1,000 places to hide. Heaven help us, Christopher.
Can you guess what this is? Research scientists worked for years to produce it. It gives your car new high Antonox. It costs you nothing extra. Well, it's xylene. Xylene is one of the highest Antonox gasoline components ever discovered. And today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains this super component, xylene. Richfield gasoline with xylene gives you new high Antonox power. Power that purrs like a kitten but pulls like an ox. Smooth, knockless power to zip you out ahead in traffic and keep you there. In addition, the Richfield dealer offers you a choice of 2 great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Buy Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Get Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for best results in the highest compression motors. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle and the Cream and Blue Pump. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene tomorrow. And now we return you to Escape.
There's no use starting to blame anybody now, gentlemen. I didn't call you officers in here to pass judgment. The thing's done, and that's that.
You're right there, Captain.
What we have got to do is make up our minds how we're going to handle it.
It'd be easier if we didn't have to tell the passengers and crew, sir. I've seen panics aboard ship before.
Yes, I agree with you, Mr. Bowman, but I don't quite see how we can avoid it.
They got a right to know. As long as that snake's loose, everybody on board's in the same danger. And they all ought to know about it.
Captain Wood, that thing is 8 feet long. It can't simply crawl into a crack. Why don't we make a quick search of the whole ship before we spread any alarm?
Yes, I've thought of that, Christopher.
As far as I can see, the only place it couldn't be is in the boilers or on top of the galley stove. Might have crawled overboard.
We can't count on that. We've got to assume it's on the ship somewhere.
Well, that could be anywhere. A coil of rope or in a pile of clothes. Yes, or under some woman's berth. Or a baby's crib. Or even...
You've already said it. That Bushmaster could be anywhere. We've got to do something. We've got to do it fast.
All right, gentlemen. I think the best idea is to follow Mr. Werner's suggestion and make a quick search first. You agree to that?
Yes, I do.
Then if we don't find it, we'll have to warn the passengers.
Captain, we've got to find it. Alone in the dim baggage room, I went through the same movements as I had earlier in the captain's cabin. Gun in one hand, flashlight in the other, poking into every dark corner, behind every trunk and every box. Since there was no one in the baggage room, I could keep the gun cocked and ready. The rest of those poor devils were having to do the same thing, bare-handed. All over the ship, the search went on.
Here now, Stewart. What on earth are you doing rummaging through my cabin?
Just checking up, ma'am.
Well, I'm quite sure there's nothing in here that has to be checked.
Sorry, ma'am. Captain's orders. It'll only take a few minutes.
Oh, I never heard of such a thing. A passenger simply doesn't have any privacy at all. I've traveled on a lot of different lines, but I've certainly never heard of anything so completely high-handed.
I'm sorry, sir. I wonder if you'd mind moving over to the other rail. I'd like to look through these lockers.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's the matter? You lost something?
No, just looking things over.
Nothing in there but life preservers.
Yeah, that's right.
Must be getting ready to sink the boat, huh? Gonna collect all the insurance, eh? Gonna send us all to the bottom, huh?
But not one of us could find that deadly shape. Perhaps coiled in some dark corner or outstretched along a window seat. Not one of us caught a glimpse of that horrid head with its beady, black, watchful eyes. It was nearly dark when we met again together in the chart room.
Well, gentlemen, there's no other way around it. We've risked all the time we can. We've got to warn the passengers.
But how'll we do it, Captain? Call them all together in the lounge?
No. If we did anything like that, we'd be asking for a panic.
We'll get one whether we ask for it or not.
Pick a few men and go through the cabin decks. Tell them individually, inside their cabins. Watch for any that act like they might cause trouble, and we'll keep an eye on them. Handle the crew the same way.
Yes, sir.
Now, as soon as you're finished, arm all the deck officers and start searching again. Our only chance of preventing a panic is to find that snake.
The slow nightmare that followed grew worse by the hour, and none of us slept. All the ship's officers not on duty kept on with that endless search. Passengers locked themselves in their cabins or huddled together in the lounges, knowing all the time that no spot on board could be called safe. Fear was a heavy fog in the lungs of us all, and every light on the vessel burned throughout the night. Morning came and brought no relief. Terror and tension mounted by the hour.
There now, Mrs. Crane, go back to your cabin. The horrid thing's probably crawled overboard in. No, you're not saying that. You're saying to say it. You don't know. Nobody knows. Now, everything's going to be all right. Oh, if we can only get off the ship. They could fumigate us. Yes, that's what we've got to do. We've got to get off the ship. Mr. Bones, he's going to jump.
No, you don't.
Let me go.
Nice work, Mr. Bowman, nice work. Now get her down to her cabin. And whatever you do, don't turn her loose.
I'm telling you, you don't know where it might strike you. Well, you can't put on a coat or move a chair without risking your life. Something's got to be done. It might be right here in this lounge. All right, mister, you better quiet down and take it easy.
Take it easy, huh? You're a great officer. Why don't you do something about it? This thing might be crawling around here right under our feet somewhere. I said shut up. Are you trying to start a panic? I got a right to talk. I don't want to die. Nobody's going to tell me what I...
The second night passed, and morning came around again. A gray and rainy day that dragged by with leaden hours. And then night came down again. Third night of the terror. Again, every light burned, and the whole ship seethed in the throes of incipient panic. Faced by a horror they'd never met on the sea before, crew and officers alike were on the verge of revolt. Passengers huddled in a trance-like stupor, ready to scream at the slightest unknown sound. At 7 bells, I made my way forward to the chart room and found Captain Wood bent over a desk.
Oh, hello, Christopher. Come on in. Sit down.
It's got to be somewhere, Captain Wood. It's got to be.
Well, I don't know. You could search this ship for 6 months and never touch all the hiding places aboard. Yeah, if we can only hold out for 2 more days, we'll be in port.
What's your home office say?
Here's the latest wireless from them. Keep quiet and keep coming. What else can we do? You want a cigarette?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. How's it below, Christopher?
That's pretty bad. Anything could happen.
Yeah. That's why I took the guns away from the men. 1 pistol shot and we'd have a riot on our hands.
The whole thing's my fault, Captain Wood. That's what I can't forget.
Oh, take it
There was
easy,
only
son.
one way I could pay for it myself alone.
No, now, I know how you feel, but it's no more your fault than mine or the man who asked you to bring that snake back alive. Nobody planned this. Now, look, Christopher, I think you'd better try to get a little sleep.
No.
Mr. Bowman made some coffee down in the steward's galley a while ago. You better go down and get yourself a cup and then rest for a couple of hours.
Rest? I can't.
Christopher, it's not going to help any if you stumble through a hatch half asleep and break your neck. Now, go on and get some coffee. One way or another, we've got to hold out for 2 more days.
The light was on in the steward's galley. The coffee pot was standing on the stove. It was still warm, so I didn't bother to heat it. Poured out a cup, carried it over, and set it on the porcelain tabletop in the center of the room. Started to light a cigarette. The door of the pan cupboard beneath the sink was standing slightly ajar. I happened to glance toward it. I dropped the cigarette and moved slowly backward. I'd found the Bushmaster. As I moved, the snake slid out of the cupboard in a single, sinuous slide and drew back into a loose coil on the galley floor, never taking his eyes off me. I backed slowly away, waiting any moment for that deadly, slithering strike. How had he known it was me? He'd stayed quiet when Bowman was here. How had he picked the first time in 5 days that I was without a gun? My hands touched the wall behind me, and I stopped in terror. The call button and the door were on the far side of the room. I backed into a dead end. I stared at the snake in fascination, expecting any moment the ripping slash of those poison fangs. Its lethal coils tightened a little, then were still again. 10 million years of evolution to produce this moment. Homo sapiens versus Lachesis mutus. A man against mute fate. And all the odds were on fate. I knew then that I was going to die. I could feel the sweat run down between the wall and the palms of my hands pressing against it. My skin crawled and twitched, and the pit of my stomach was cold as ice. There was no sound but the rush of blood in my ears. The snake shifted again, drawing into a tighter coil, always tighter. Why didn't the devil get it over with? Then for an instant, his head veered away. Something moved by the stove. I didn't dare turn to look at it. Slowly, it entered my line of vision. It was a cat. That scrawny cat Clara that Mother Willis had staked aboard in La Guaira. Its back was arched, and every hair stood on end. It moved stiff-legged now, walking in a half-circle around the snake. The Bushmaster moved slowly and kept watching the cat. He tightened. He was going to strike at any second. But he struck a miss. The cat was barely out of reach. Now she was walking back and forth again. She was asking to die. Missed again by a fraction of an inch. He was striking now without even going into full coil. Missed again and again, always missing by the barest margin. Each time the cat danced barely out of reach, and each time she countered with one precise cut of a dainty paw, bracing her skinny frame on 3 stiff legs. And then suddenly I realized what she was doing. The Bushmaster was tiring, and one strike was just an instant slow, but in that split second, sharp claws raked across the evil head and ripped out both the lidless eyes. The cat has deliberately blinded the snake. He didn't bother to coil now, but slid after her in a fury, striking wildly, but always missing, and every strike was a little slower than the last one. Until finally, as the snake's neck stretched out at the end of the strike, the cat made one leap and sank her razor-sharp teeth just back of the ugly head, sank him until they crunched bone. With tooth and claw she clung as the monstrous snake flailed and lashed on the floor, striving to get those hideous coils around her, trying to break her hold to shake off the slow and certain paralyzing death that gradually crept over him, and at last stilled his struggles forever. I took a deep breath. The first in minutes. The cat lay on her side on the floor, panting, resting from the fight just over. Well, she had a right to rest. That mangy, brave, beautiful alley cat had just saved my life, and maybe others as well. But as I turned toward the stove, I suddenly became very humble. And I knew all at once what a small thing a human being really is. There were 3 reasons why that cat had fought and killed the world's deadliest snake. And those 3 reasons came tottering out from under the stove on shaky little legs. 3 kittens with their eyes bright with wonder and their tails stiff as posts. Up on the decks, hundreds of passengers were waiting for the news that the days and nights of terror were ended. Well, they could wait a little longer. I pulled open the door to the cabinet and found a can of milk in a saucer. Then I dropped down on my knees on the floor of the galley.
In summer heat, when the old sun beats down and the thermometer goes up and up, your car's motor gets really hot. And that can mean trouble, because that searing heat is mighty hard on your motor oil. In summertime especially, you need the protection of oil that holds its body under the toughest driving conditions. You need Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the costliest Pennsylvania crude obtainable. Rich Lube is tough. It protects your motor by drawing excess heat away from moving parts and by its great lubricating qualities. Moreover, it contains special chemicals that combat carbon and harmful deposits. It cleans your motor as you drive. So get real motor protection this summer. Ask the Richfield gasoline dealer to change your oil to Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil. Keep your motor clean. Keep your motor young. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight has presented The Shipment of Mute Fate by Martin Storm, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield. David Ellis was Chris, Bill Conrad the captain. Sarah Selby was Mother Willis, and David Light was Clara the cat. Others in the cast were Werner Felton, Ted DeCossia, Harry Bartell, and Paul Freese. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You're running a charter fishing boat in the waters off Nicaragua until one day a client suddenly offers to shoot you in the leg and throw you overboard to the ravenous sharks and barracuda from which there can be no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape to Central America with a story of murderous intrigue along the tropic coast, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting story, Sharkbait. Be listening. Goodbye then until this same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with xylene, Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to a charter fishing boat in the waters off the little Central American country of Nicaragua, and the story of the violence and terror that suddenly developed there, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his exciting tale, Sharkbait.
I just come out of the hole they call El Splendido. Passes for a hotel in Puerto Morazan. They call it El Splendido, I guess, because of the bigger and better cockroaches. Funny thing is, there are always a few Americans there. They come down to Nicaragua for the fishing. Two of them, a man named Williams and his daughter, had chartered my boat for the next morning. It was getting dark when I walked down to where the boat was tied up, and as I came to the shack that palmed itself off as a cocktail bar, I knew it was time for a drink. The joint was called Joe's. Nobody knew why, since it belonged to a fat, happy Portuguese named Miguel Pereira, who in his spare time dabbled in everything from cut-rate murder to dope. He was a good man not to trust. Went to a table, and he stopped plunking his guitar long enough to bring me a warm beer.
Buenos tardes, Capitan Hook.
Hi, Mike.
Here's hot today, eh?
Yeah.
You are the first person for cocktails all day today.
Now, that's tough.
But when it gets dark, the Americanos will come in. Then I make up my loss.
I'll bet you do.
I have heard some interesting talk today.
Is that so?
I would not breathe it to a soul but you.
Go on.
Across the border, they are ready.
Oh, the rebels again?
So they say. Oh, those Hondurans. I have heard something else.
Huh?
They are bringing guns in for the attempt.
No kidding.
See. They pick them up from a Honduras fishing trawler off the coast tomorrow night. Then take them to Point Maria here in Nicaragua.
Well, that's the point, a couple of miles below Puerto Morazan, is it?
See, from there they carry the guns across the border to Honduras.
Well, that's pretty slick.
These things I have heard, amigo.
You're a true conspirator, Miguelito.
There is something more, and believe me, dear friend, I will tell it to no one but you. The guns arrive at Point Maria at 30 minutes past 10 tomorrow night.
Well, that's valuable information, Mike. You'd better not tell anybody else. You know, you might get yourself into trouble.
Oh, but of course I would not. You I tell because I can trust you as you can trust me, Capitan Hook?
Yeah.
Come, I bring you another beer, And Joe's Cocktail Bar, free.
My customers came aboard the next morning at 5:30. Mr. Williams, short and fat, with a prissy little mouth that smiled and sparkling eyes. His daughter looked all right. There were two other men with them. I didn't like that, though. Strangers in Central America, particularly these days, can mean trouble, and that was something I didn't want. My deckhand, Sam, was standing by to cast off.
Hey, Captain Hook. I should like you to meet Mr. Baxter and Mr. Gordon.
How do you do? Gentlemen.
They're staying at the El Splendido. Missed you last night when we made the charter. They're coming with us.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Williams.
Wonderful day. It should be great for fishing.
Look, Mr. Williams, my charter calls for only two, you and your daughter.
Well, my dear fellow, Mr. Baxter and Mr. Gordon are my guests. You'll be paid accordingly. Now, that's settled. Shall we shove off?
Okay.
All right, Sam, cast off.
See you, Jocko.
Beautiful, isn't it, Captain?
It's all right, Miss Williams.
It's because you're used to it. I've never seen water like this before.
No?
Your deckhand. You call him Sam.
What about him?
Sam. He is Spanish, isn't he?
Part. Rest is Nicaragua.
Why do you call him Sam? Is that really his name?
No, but it's easier. The other one's too long.
He calls you Jocko?
It's Jonathan, but he can't pronounce it.
Strange to find a man like you down here running a charter fishing boat, and with a name like Captain Hook. It's very romantic.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh. Am I annoying you?
No, of course not, Miss Williams. It's my job to answer questions.
I see.
Captain, that dark patch of water over there. See?
Yeah.
It seems to be moving.
It is. Manta ray.
Manta ray?
A giant manta ray. We stay away from him. It's healthy.
Oh, my camera. I must get a shot. Can you get closer?
I can, but I won't.
Well, now, look here. There's no need to use that tone with me. I'm hiring you. I want to get a picture of the beast.
I'm sorry. I'm chartered for fishing. This is a 46-footer. Your beast is about 35 feet across, and he's bad-tempered, too. Nothing doing.
Oh, very well.
Jocko!
What?
Albacore!
Where?
On the port bow.
I see it. Forget your manta ray, Mr. Williams. Look, albacore. Tell your friends to get ready. Better let me try for the first one. If we lose him, the rest will get away. Watch those outriggers, Sam! Mr. Williams, break out your gear. This is it. There's a school of fish you see once in a lifetime. When you tie onto one of those babies, you got something. I turned the wheel over to Sam and got set. The albacore took the feather jig like a crazy horse, only 10 times faster. I knew that if I lost him, it was goodbye school. That's the way Albacore are.
Oh, you've got him.
Come on, get those lines wet. Over on the other side of me, Baxter. Right. No, Baxter, look out. You're crossing my line.
I'm sorry.
Now get around me. Here, not that way, you fool. You're fouling me. Under me. Up. That did it. There goes the line.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Forget it. Well, you won't see Albacore again today, Mr. Williams. There they go.
Dear. Too bad. Oh, well, that's luck. Oh, come along, Baxter. We'd better have a beer.
Good idea.
After all that excitement, I could almost feel the fight in them. It's really too bad, but accidents will happen.
All right, Sammy, I'll take the wheel.
See you, Joko. Perhaps we catch something else later.
Yeah.
You're angry, aren't you, Captain?
What? No.
Oh, yes, you are. Mr. Baxter hadn't been so clumsy, we would have caught Albacore.
That's right. Now, I'll tell you something else.
What?
I don't think that either Baxter or his friend Gordon are fishermen.
They are. The hotel last night, they said so.
Don't kid yourself, not the way Baxter handles a rod.
But they
and
said...
another thing, he's carrying 2 guns and shoulder holsters.
Oh?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's their business. Mine's to find fish.
You're not afraid of very much, are you?
Listen, why don't you go and sit up forward?
Are you afraid of me?
Look, I've taken too many spoiled dames on these trips. Like smallpox, I'm immune.
And I'm bored.
You talk like a bad movie. Now go cut up mullet or something. I'm not expendable. We cruised for another couple of hours. Sighted one marlin, tied into another. That is, Mr. Williams did, but he lost it. Baxter and his quiet friend didn't fish much. They watched. I didn't like that any better. We landed a few barracuda, big nasty devils that could rip the meat off your arm in a second. And it was hot. Sun bounced back from the glassy water and made you wish you were somewhere else. And then it was afternoon. Those 2 guys just sat. They were making me nervous. Williams drank beer and perspired while his daughter kept casing me. I figured she was getting ready for another try when we saw the boat. It was a fisherman flying the Honduran flag.
Oh, not very good sport today, eh, Captain?
It may get better.
It's too bad I missed that marlin.
There'll be another.
I hope so. First the albacore and then marlin. Hey, on your right.
Huh?
What sort of craft is that?
That's commercial fishermen.
Oh, quite large, isn't she?
They take a lot of fish.
Of course. I'd like to get a picture, if I may.
I thought you wanted fish.
I do.
Right, then I'm headed down the coast.
Well, would it take long to get close enough for a picture?
No, it wouldn't be worth it.
Huh?
She's Honduran. I don't want trouble.
Trouble, Captain?
In case you haven't heard, Honduras is ripe for another revolution. What? We're under the Nicaraguan flag. I'm not taking any chances.
I don't understand.
It depends whose side the fishermen are on. If they're Honduras government, it's all right. If they're not, they might like to have my boat.
What?
It's happened before.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Revolution. Well.
Captain, that ship, she seems to be signaling.
No, what about it?
Mr. Gordon knows a little about signal pennants.
Does he? Like he knows how to fish?
I think it's a distress signal.
Yes, you ought to find out.
Distress. Is that so, Captain Hook?
Could be. Could be a trick.
I don't understand. If they're in distress, it's our duty to
When
go...
we first sighted her, there wasn't any signal. Now she very conveniently runs one up. I don't like it. We're putting back to Puerto Morazan.
We better take a look.
Not on my boat. Sam!
Hi, Jocko.
We're through for the day. Take in the outriggers. I'm sorry, Mr. Williams, but I don't like this charter.
Now,
You'll
look
get your
here.
money back.
But you can't do that.
Stay on the course.
Nuts.
I insist, Captain.
Oh, Mr. Baxter, what are you doing with a gun? Are you crazy?
Walk over here slowly, Hook. Come on. I mean it.
Well...
All right, Gordon, take over.
Right.
I've been wondering about you ever since you boarded.
Have you? Well, now you know.
Mr. Baxter, really, you have no right to endanger us all. This is going too far.
Keep out of this, Mr. Williams.
You're pretty interested in that trawler, aren't you?
Yes, that's why we've borrowed your boat. If you give us any trouble, I'll shoot you in the leg and throw you overboard. I imagine you would make excellent sport for the shark and barracuda. They have an extraordinary scent for blood, Captain Hook.
Did you know that today's motor car is the most powerful ever built? But it needs gasoline to match. It needs gasoline containing xylene. Xylene, a great discovery of modern science, puts a new dynamic wallop in gasoline. That's because xylene is one of the highest anti-knock gasoline components ever discovered. A super component to give your car new, higher anti-knock performance. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Try Richfield gasoline on a gear shift hill. Press down on the gasoline pedal. Feel your car leap forward. That's what Xylene in Richfield gasoline does. You get new high Antonoc, new power, new mileage economy. What's more, you have a choice of 2 great Richfield gasolines with Xylene. The Richfield dealer offers Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for best results in highest compression motors, or Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average car. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline containing Xylene. And now we return you to Escape.
Well, it was nicely done. One minute I was the skipper of my boat, the next I was waiting to see if Baxter wasn't going to put a bullet into me. I knew he wasn't kidding about those shark and barracuda, so I decided to play along. Gordon may not have been a fisherman, but he knew how to run a boat, and he headed straight for the fishing trawler.
What does it mean, Captain Hook?
You tell me, Mr. Williams. How long did you say you'd known those guys?
We met them last night, Jonathan.
Yeah?
Well, certainly. Well, you don't for 1 minute suppose that I would have invited them had I known this was going to happen. Well, whatever are they up to? I've never heard of such a thing.
It's rather exciting.
I've got an idea.
Oh?
I told you they're ripe for a revolution in Honduras.
Yes?
That trawler might be carrying guns.
Guns?
Mm-hmm.
But why? I mean, what's the point of taking over your boat?
Unload guns, put them aboard us for the revolutionists.
What? But Baxter couldn't have known we were coming out here. Oh, I don't believe it.
Sure he could.
How?
You could have told him.
I?
That's right. Last night I told you I'd run out from Puerto Morazan for about 2 hours, you remember? Even told you the direction, south-southwest.
Yes. You said we'd have a chance at Marlin and possibly Tarpon. Yes. I guess I did mention it to them.
Okay. That's why Baxter didn't want us to stop for those albacore. He and his pal made a deal with the skipper of that boat to meet him somewhere around here and at about this time.
Oh?
It's only a guess, but it'll do for now. And it was a good guess. 10 minutes later, we tied up alongside the trawler. She was filthy enough, but she wasn't fishing, and she wasn't in distress. The crew was right out of a Sabatini novel. They didn't have cutlasses, but they had plenty of guns, and not the government kind either. The skipper had a few words with Baxter while Gordon covered us. Then a package changed hands, and they began to put the boxes on our deck. A couple of the deck hands stowed them below and in the cabin. We had quite an arsenal aboard when we pushed off.
Well, Captain Hook, you wanted to put back into Puerto Morazan, and so we shall.
Are you kidding?
Not at all.
If those are guns, how do you think you're going to get them into Nicaragua?
Nobody said anything about guns. I shouldn't worry about the contents of the boxes. We shall wait until night, then put into Point Maria. We'll put the cargo ashore there.
Just like that?
Just like that.
You get paid off, and somebody else worries about getting them over the border into Honduras, huh? Well, that sounds familiar.
If that is my plan, you have described it perfectly. And, Captain, remember, it's pointless for you to attempt any heroics. Our stakes are rather high, and we should prefer not to kill you.
You won't kill me, don't worry.
Your boat will be returned to you, and there'll be a bonus for your rather unusual charter.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Well, I'm going to join Gordon at the wheel now, and keep in sight, Captain Hook.
Jocko. Sammy. Stay down. They can't see you.
Jocko, they think I am below. Yeah. I behave very scared. They did not trouble to search me carefully. I have my knife.
Good boy. Not now, though. Stay out of the way. If we get a chance, I'll... Duck, here comes the dame. Well, where's your father, Miss Williams?
In the cabin, worrying. Who were you talking to just now?
Me? Talking? Oh.
Yes, you were. I know. It's your deckhand, Sam. Isn't it?
Keep your voice down.
Sorry. Haven't they missed him?
Probably not. Sam can look like a real scared Indian when he wants to.
He isn't scared, is he?
No.
You've got a plan.
Maybe?
I could help.
No, just stay out of the way.
But I want to help. What can I do?
What's your first name?
Dana.
That's no name for a girl.
Well, it doesn't matter. I am a girl.
Yeah, I can see that.
What do you want me to do?
Go over to the wheel. Gordon hasn't got a gun in his hand. Baxter's the one to watch. Get him talking, and if you can move him in front of me, cut him off for about 5 seconds, right?
But you haven't got a gun. What can you do?
Not me, Sam. If I got his knife, he can do tricks with one. Just give him time to get a good throw, that's all. When I yell, duck.
Where is he?
Inside the bait tank behind me.
All right.
I'll take care of Gordon. You still game?
Of course.
All right, go on. Sam.
Si. Easy, Jocko.
Get set. Did you hear what I told her?
I hear.
Make it good, boy. If you miss...
I won't miss, Jocko.
Now, she's talking to him now, Sam. We haven't got much time.
I'm ready.
I'm going for Gordon. We'll get him off guard. If you miss with a knife, rush him.
Okay, Jocko.
All right, now, Sam.
Look out!
Stay where you are, Captain Hook. That was most unwise.
Jonathan, he must have seen him. I couldn't help it.
Sam. Sam.
I'm sorry, Jocko. I was not fast with the knife. I'm sorry.
Oh, come on, Sam. You'll be all right, Sam. There we go.
We have one good fine time together. Jocko.
Sure we do, Sam. And lots more.
Put him overboard, Captain.
What?
Put him over the side. He's dead.
Listen, you murdering...
I want no dead bodies in this boat. Might be difficult to explain if anyone came aboard before we reached land. Put him over the side.
I picked him up in my arms. He was very light. The little mestizo who had been with me for 3 years was dead. Sam was dead. He looked like a sleeping child, except for the blood stain creeping over his wet shirt. I stood at the rail for a moment. Then I let him go. He fell astern of us, and I had to watch. I knew what was going to happen, but I had to watch. So did Baxter. I could feel that murderous fascination as he waited. Then there was a swirl. And another. The water boiled with triangular fins. And Sam was gone. After that, I just waited. Williams and the girl didn't show. It was just me and those two at the wheel. And it began to get dark like it does down there. We didn't show any lights. Gordon was still at the wheel, and I could see the glow of Puerto Morazan off the port bow. There was no moon, just sudden blackness. Must have taken Carter by surprise, because when he called to me, I wasn't sitting by the bait tank any longer. I was around the other side with a big gaff hook in my hand.
Captain!
Why didn't you watch him?
Never mind that. He's still aboard. Hook! I'm coming to get you. Don't be a fool. Hook! This is your last chance. I swear I'll shoot.
I caught sight of his figure for a second against the glow of the town, and then he was gone. But I was ready. I could hear him. Just a couple of more steps. 1, 2, 3.
Hook! You're a fool.
I'll put on the light.
No. They'll see us from shore.
Then I could hear him breathing. And I hit out with a gas, and I caught Nexter in the throat. He went down hard, dying fast. I grabbed his gun and moved quietly toward Gordon at the wheel.
Did you kill him?
Baxter can't hear you, Gordon. He's dead. All right, drop it. Drop it! I got away from the wheel. Okay. Williams! Williams, get out here. It's all right. I've got him.
Captain Hook. Oh, well done. Mustn't have taken a lot of nerve to do that. It's wasted. Sorry, Captain Hook.
It was dark again when I came around. I could hear voices up forward. I'd been a sucker, and I knew that the 4 of them had been in it together.
I tell you, I can't take it any closer. Baxter knew these waters. I don't. We could hit anything. Rocks, shoals. We wouldn't have a chance. The sharks.
If you hadn't been so careless, this never would have happened.
Well, what's the use of talking? We've got to do something. Look, isn't that a point over there on your left?
Yes, that might be Point Maria.
Now I understood why Sam had died. The girl must have told Baxter what was going on, then faked the routine we'd worked out. That's why she got so cozy with me, just to make sure she'd know what I was up to. And it was quite a setup. It's a lot of dough and running guns, and it takes all kinds to do it. And I decided it was about time to let them know I was awake.
Well, Captain.
Yeah.
You feeling better?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to hit you quite so hard.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
You caused us quite a little inconvenience, you know.
I'll bet Sam's sorry for you, too. That's a nice kid, your daughter. She pulled wings off of flies when she was younger.
Not my daughter, Captain. Dana's, shall we say, a partner in the enterprise.
Oh?
And, we have a proposition to put to you.
Oh?
Frankly, we need your help. Mr. Gordon is unable to discern the landmark we have chosen. Baxter might have found it, but, well, Captain, we needn't go into that. I offer you $1,000 if you will take us in to Point Maria, where we should be able to see the signal.
Sorry.
2,000.
Find it yourself.
Shoot him. He'll only give us more trouble.
Yeah, do that. Then explain how Sam and I disappeared when you get back to Puerto Morazan. By the way, have you checked the fuel?
It's almost empty.
That's right.
All right, Captain. What do you want?
Look, Williams, suppose I take you in, and we decide on a fair deal when we get there.
Very well. You have my hand on it, Captain?
Yeah. Gentlemen's agreement.
Are you sure this is Point Maria?
I'm sure. Do you want me to signal?
No, we'll wait. We have to pick up the guns at 10:30. The boats will put out from shore.
It's 10:30 now.
We'll wait.
It's okay with me. 5 minutes went by, and we heard the sound of muffled oars. From out of the blackness, riding out to us on the swells, came 3 boats. I was at the rail when the first man lumbered heavily over the side. It was the owner of Joe's Cocktail Bar, Miguel Pereira, still fat and still happy. 4 others followed, well armed, stood waiting.
Captain Hook, my good friend, and Senor Williams. Yes. But I did not know that you were acquainted.
Well, the captain was kind enough to assist in delivering your consignment, Senor Pereira.
So? Oh, now I understand. You and the captain have become partners, eh? You use these boats for the task. Very good.
Not partners, Mike. These are my guns.
Oh, come now, Captain Hook. You're getting a little out of your depth, aren't you?
You might as well start unloading, Mike.
But there is only one consignment?
That's right, mine. Williams wasn't able to pick his up.
Wait a minute. Are you in us, too?
You, Captain? You're running guns?
Yeah. It wasn't nice of Mike not to tell you about me, and it wasn't nice of him not to tell me about you. What? Would have been simpler to let us do the whole thing instead of splitting it up, Mike.
Never mind what was nice. I know what I'm doing. It was safer this way. If one of you were caught, the other would get through. Mr. Williams said he arranged for a boat and would pick up his guns this afternoon from the trawler and bring them here this evening. And you, my dear friend, were to pick up yours tonight, as I told you.
That's right. You've got them.
Now, look here. If you think I'm going to be double-crossed like this, you can...
Go ahead. There's a load of guns waiting for you out on that Honduras fisherman. Pick them up. This one's my deal.
Well, I tell you, Senor Pereira, these are mine.
We must have the other shipment of guns tonight.
Looks like you're not going to, Mike, unless I can get them for you.
You're not going to get away with this, Captain Hook.
You will return to the trawler tonight, Captain?
Sure. You'll have to pay me first for these.
It is done.
Oh, no. We made a deal, Pereira. I am not...
You did not keep your bargain, senor. Obviously, these are the captain's guns. Please, no violence. My men are nervous. That is better. Here is the money, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. I'll give it to Sam's wife. It won't make her feel any better about Sammy, but it may help a bit.
Well, Captain Hook, you've done quite well, haven't you? Where does all this leave us?
Out, Mr. Williams. If you're smart, right out of Central America. And if I were you, I'd do my fishing in a lake from here on. It's healthier.
Did you know that just the motor of a modern car has as many moving parts as a whole car did only a few years ago? That means your motor oil has a bigger-than-ever job to do. That's why it's more important than ever to use Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the costliest Pennsylvania crude. It protects moving engine parts with a tough elastic oil film that stands up under the hardest driving conditions. Rich Lube keeps your motor cool by carrying excess heat away from vital engine parts. In addition, it cleans your motor of harmful deposits as you drive. Rich Lube, the Pennsylvania premium motor oil, saves you money by protecting your motor under all-weather, all-driving conditions. Yes, it's much cheaper to use Rich Lube than to pay the cost of motor repairs. Change to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil tomorrow. Keep your motor clean. Keep your motor young. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight has presented Shark Bait by Anthony Ellis.
Featured in tonight's cast were Bill Conrad as Captain Hook, Mary Shipp as Dana, Will Gear as Williams, John Daner as Baxter, Steve Roberts as Gordon, Harry Bartell as Sam, and Paul Freese as Miguel. Special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are standing on the deck of a whaling ship, about to put out from San Francisco, when a stranger suddenly appears to inform you that he has just murdered your first mate. A stranger from whom you realize there can be no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with a story of intrigue and violence aboard a whaling ship of 100 years ago, as Bud Nelson tells it in his exciting tale, Yellow Wake. Be listening. Goodbye then until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Escape to an old-time whaling ship in the Pacific, and the story of the desperation and murderous violence of the men who sailed her, as Bud Nelson tells it in his exciting tale, Yellow Wake.
Panama. Great chests of gold. The end of Sanford's rainbow. Stupid Sanford. Whiskey loose Sanford. And he put it right in my hand. Aye. His boast of an ancient book and a chart of buried treasure reeked of whiskey. Till he flashed that poke of pieces of 8 in the San Francisco saloon, and I took care of the rest. There was no time before I was walking up the gangplank of his ship, the whaling vessel Congo Queen, knocking on the door of the captain's cabin.
Who's there?
Captain Dixon?
Aye. What is this? Fine watch I have that lets strangers board without selling?
Maybe your anchor watch is a little loose, Captain, but I'll tighten it. My name's Love. Jonas Love.
Love, is it? What's your business aboard?
I'm your new first mate.
Where's Sanford?
He won't be coming back.
Sanford jumped ship? I don't believe it.
Jumping for dead, Captain. Shot, sir. Shot in a brawl.
Aye, whiskey, no doubt. I'd warned him. It had to happen someday. You were a friend?
For a time. Whiskey makes all men friends. Or enemies. I shot him.
You shot him? You shoot my mate and you got the sand to come here telling me about it?
I shot him in the smoke of his own gun, Captain. In San Francisco, that's a fair contest. I want his job.
You want his job, eh? You kill a man and ask for his job. What sort do you take me for that I'd take you on in the light of what you tell me?
For an intelligent man, Captain. One who won't pass up a chance to take on a better man than Sanford. You won't find another qualified mate on the California coast.
You got a good deal of talk, Mr. Love, but talk don't run a whaler.
A ship's a ship, sir, whether she runs whale oil or slaves.
Well, now you want to change the diggings. Where's your papers?
Papers don't run a vessel anymore in talk. Here, you'll find I speak the truth.
Well, maybe we can come to terms. Where's your gear?
Sanford won't need his.
What? Mr. Love, you've got an uncommon gall. You kill a man, ask for his job, and now you take his very worldly possessions. I scarce think you'd stop at his wife.
Did he have one?
Well, it's a fair thing you didn't. You're a heartless man, Mr. Love, and I don't admire you for it. But it takes a heartless man to run this crew.
I dare say there's worse ones on board. Get your men in hand, Mr. Love. We sail in half the hour. South's the course.
All hands on deck. Bear a hand below there. Starboard watch, man the captain. Port! Stand by to make sail. Lively now, men! And
The Congo Queen was 300 tons between her jibs and her spanker and fleece in the teeth of the wind. A three-masted ship with canvas 5 high and the smell of her trade and her wood. I beat her to windward, cleared the bay, turned her south, and took a fresh wind over her stern, trimmed and sailing free for the end of Sanford's rainbow. Sanford. His berth was mine, the key to his sea chest hung from my neck. Secure inside his iron-bound chest was the proof of his drunken boast. Notes, more coins, green with age, a leather-bound book, and a parchment chart of Spanish legend. All I lacked was the name of the men who were in it with him, but I knew they'd show themselves soon enough. They'd be the ones who hated me most. Meantime, I had the whaling trade to learn, my life to guard against unknown men, and a new captain to please. I joined Captain Thixton at the wheel.
I've been expecting you, Mr. Love.
Aye, sir.
Belay the formality, man. Respect is not in your nature.
You're right, Captain. And wrong. What's our destination?
Well, you might as well know you're not just my first officer. You're a confessed killer, and this is the high seas. One false step, and you're my prisoner. The matter is closed.
Closed it is, but not locked, sir. Our destination, Captain.
You go as far as your behavior takes you. We, the Queen, and the rest of my crew hail New Bedford in time. First the Horn and the 60 latitudes, God willing.
60 latitudes, huh? Ice, then.
Aye, ice. But also whales, many and big. Sperm, blues, humpback. We should fill quick with luck. You'll see, Mr. Love. Secure the watch.
Aye, sir.
From now on, it's watch and watch, 4 and 4. Keep 'em moving smart. Tired men don't make trouble. That includes you, Mr. Love.
Watch and watch, 4 and 4 it is, sir. She was a tight ship under Thixton. Still, I added my bit to the squeeze. I drove the crew hard, made them hate my guts, and spit at my back. They left me alone, and that's what I wanted. Kept my cabin secure inside or out while I fit Sanford's plan with my own. Oh, how the fool could have waited, I'll never know. The cache of gold was described in his notes. He'd been to the site from the Caribbean side, yet he sailed halfway around the world because he needed 4 men. 4 men who were on board. 4 men who would kill to put hand to my book and my chart. Well, we were fast hauling south. Had to tempt them to show their hand. The bait was the book with some pages cut out, a false rolled chart, and an open hatch. We were in Mexican waters, sailing hard on the wind. I was in my hammock, a tired dog, and sleep was a fitful thing. Hold there. Hold in your tracks, you thieving ape. I groped like a fool for my pistol, and my man got away in the night. He'd come to open Sanford's chest. Next time, he'd come to kill. Another week passed while I studied the crew. 4 men and 30, all keeping their thoughts in their beards. Some were mean, some were meek, some mutinous, some too willing in their work. Under 4 of those beards were Sanford's men. Another 2 days, and Lady Luck sent me to my quarters in the middle of the day. I needed to fill my pipe. Johnson, what brings you to my quarters?
Mr. Love, sir. I was just putting things in order.
I see. Now, come on. Get up on your feet and talk. Come on up. Now, what are you looking for, Johnson?
Well, like I say, I
What
was
are you
just...
hiding in your shirt?
Oh, it's just a book, sir.
Just a book it is, huh? Give it to me. Just a book for certain. And what else? What else in your shirt? A land chart of Panama, is it? You read maps, too, huh, Johnson?
I was just...
Save the lies, Johnson. You're looking for Sanford's secret.
No.
You might as well know that it's mine now. I know you were in it with Sanford.
In with Sanford, Mr. Love. I don't follow.
You will if you hope to make any good from Sanford's plan. Aye, you'll follow me, and the other 3 will, too.
Oh, you're talking in riddles, man.
Riddles, is it, huh? Oh, you took the bait good, Johnson. I've been expecting you to come prowling. I set the bait and you took it. But it's wrong, Johnson. Here's the pages that tell the story, Johnson. Read them.
I don't read, sir. Tanner here, he reads, sir.
I'll read it to you. But listen well. Peleg, Sanford, 1838. It says right here in his own handwriting. Now listen to this. The name of the book, Sir Francis Drake Revived. Calling upon this dull and effeminate age to follow his noble steps for gold and silver. Mm-hmm. Pretty thought, isn't it, Johnson?
It's a haunting story, I'm told. Tanner here was to read it to me on wages, sir.
Save the lies, Johnson. Just listen to this, where Sanford marked. Now listen. He keepeth 100 slaves at least in the mines, each slave being bound to bring in daily clear gain, all charges deducted, 3 pesos of gold for himself and 2 for his women. It goes on to say, Johnson, that the daily haul, daily, mind you, was 1,600 pounds sterling. Translated, that's roughly $50,000 every day.
Well...
Now listen. Which he keepeth in certain great chests of 2 feet deep, 3 broad, and 4 long. Just think of it, Johnson. Caskets full of gold. Now, you were in with Sanford, Johnson. What does this mean to us?
Oh, to us, I don't understand, sir. Oh, it's just a tale to amuse. That's all I wanted, sir. The hours are long in the forecastle, sir.
That's enough of your simpering, Johnson. Now, who are the others? It's your boat crew, isn't it? Tannehill, Bigsby, and Alcott?
Oh, you call their names with your dying breath.
Be sensible now, man. I'm willing to put in with you. You need a leader, and I need men. And I hold the map in the book. When you're ready to talk sense, fetch your men here. Now, shove off.
Hi, Mr. Love. I shove off.
And Johnson, I'll kill the man on sight I catch near my quarters. Is that clear?
Aye, Mr. Love. We know killing ourselves. You may not see the light of another day.
Motorists, do you realize how many practical improvements science has given you for your car? For example, you get better gasoline because scientific research discovered xylene. Xylene is one of the highest anti-knock components in gasoline history. Xylene gives new high anti-knock qualities, new flashing power to gasoline. But here's the big news. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Let me repeat that. Every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. Xylene for split-second pickup in traffic, for smooth, knockless power all the time. Moreover, your Richfield dealer offers you a choice of 2 great Richfield gasolines, both containing xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor, or Richfield Ethyl for best results in the highest compression motors. Each is a champion in its class. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. And now we return you to Escape.
I let Johnson go because I needed him. I needed his men to be my crew, to sail a ship, to fight a jungle, to move a mine. I thought I could wait till they came to me, but the devil's bait is a gilded hook. When it catches your flesh, you can't shake it loose. So I read and reread and traced and retraced in my mind, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and it said gold. Well, we were south of Mexico, and time was growing short. I went to Johnson on deck and took a desperate move. Johnson?
Aye, sir.
This is your last chance. Show up tonight with your men, or I pick my own and leave you out.
Now, don't be a fool. You'll kill it for all of us.
All but me, Johnson.
Well, I'll take you in if it's all right with my crew, my men.
Your crew, huh? Your boat crew. Just as I thought. Do I use yours or get my own?
We'll talk it out.
I'm losing my patience, Johnson. Bring your men to my cabin at 8 bells, or I get my own.
If the men agree, we'll be there at 8 bells.
It was a long chance, but it worked. And at 8 bells, they came to my cabin. Johnson, Tannehill, Bigsby, and Alcott.
Here we are, Mr. Love.
Come in. Keep quiet. All right, belay the talk. Now gather around the charts. Now, there's one point I want clear. I'm giving orders, and they're not going to be mislaid. I understand. Nobody else. Any man who doesn't like it can talk up now.
Mr. Love, we're taking you in.
You're wrong, Johnson. As Sanford's, legal heir, I've got 9 points of the law right here on this table, this map. And this book. And the know-how.
He's right. Stow the gripes, Johnson. We need a man with learning. How about it, men?
All right, that's settled. Understand, Johnson? All right, close in on this chart. I'll show you where Sanford was wrong. Now here, right here, was our position at the noon sight. We're approximately 12 degrees, 30 minutes north by 82 degrees, 40 minutes west. See where that puts us? Not over 4 degrees off the coast of Panama, you see?
All right, man, but you still got to round the horn.
The maps from the other side.
Sure, the Spanish chart shows a bearing from the Caribbean side, but look, carry that bearing on across Panama into the Pacific. Now look where we are.
Oh, we ain't a day
But
away.
we don't have to round the horn.
Sanford never thought of that.
No, we don't have to go through with any whaling. Look, between these two mountains is a saddle. That's the mine. The bulk of the treasure is shown on the Spaniards' map right here, at the highest point in this defile.
Boy, that ain't a day's march over it.
Right. We can forget whaling. We don't have to round the horn, and this side fits my plan much better.
What is your plan about the boats and all?
Boats be hanged. I say, take the ship.
What are you talking about, man?
Mutiny?
Call it what you want. This half of the world won't be a healthy place for any of us. I say, take the ship, get the gold, and head southeast. Lands, big lands, new lands, and gold talks in any of them.
You got a good opinion of yourself, love. We're 5 against 25. 26, counting the captain. We can't take ship.
You're wrong, Johnson. You forget we're whalesmen. We've seen whales every day lately. The order was given, 5 boats out after whales would take care of 25 men.
The captain won't take whale till we're south of the Horn. He'll never give the order.
That's the first time you've been right, Johnson. He won't give the order. But I will. 5 boats out, take care of 25 men, and I'll see that it's none of us. 5 boats with salt in their water breakers. And no ship to come home to. Do you follow me? The current will take him to sea. From there on, it's Davy Jones' worry. We get the gold, head south, scuttle the Queen, and as far as everybody knows, all hands are lost. Then it's every man to his own pleasure, with plenty of gold to buy it.
I say we got the right man to lead us.
My odds, then, with
He is a smart one.
Before another night falls, men, we'll have us a ship. In a week, we'll have gold for ballast, enough to buy us a kingdom. Now, break it up quiet and mind your actions. As far as Thixton's concerned, there's nothing changed. And I'll still flog the man that fouls an order. Now, lay down to quarters, sharp and quiet. I'll pass the word when the time comes. All we need is a whale, men. 1 whale and the ship is ours. It was a neat plan, and it carried fair. The watch changed. Day broke gray. Johnson was at the helm. Bigsby stood lookout high in the fort at gallant yards, all on orders of Jonas Love. Captain Thixton was lashed in his bunk. I saved him to kill him with the loss of his ship. The proud Captain Thixton, a prisoner of Captain Love. For now, we were whalesmen in search of a whale, any whale. It was watch and wait and watch and...
Lay to the helm! Aye, sir. Bring her up! Up! Land upon! Up and now! Bear ahead! Clear on the port side! More away! Have it clear all away!
Oh, clockwork, love. That's what it is. I've got to hand it to you.
Did you tend to my orders, Johnson, about the water breakers?
And I'd like to see the face of the first thirsty man. I gave him side meat, too. Good salt hog side to whet their thirst.
They won't last 2 weeks. If they're picked up before, it won't make any difference to us.
All we need is a Jolly Roger from our Royal Yards, love.
Not quite, Johnson. Thixton's still with us. Donahue.
Aye, sir. Carried her, sir.
You got your knife, Donahue. Thixton's tied in his cabin. Make it fast and sure.
Aye, sir. Fast and sure it is.
Do I bring her about, love?
You'll bring her about when I tell you to, Johnson, and you'll belay the mister when I tell you to, not before. Is that understood? Well, that's it. Bring her about, Johnson. East for south, steady as you go. Our next step is Panama, man. Golden Panama.
It'll pay you to know, love. Now all our stations is equal. It's 4-1 against you. And all of us views the same.
Johnson, it'll pay you to know that the man who crosses me cuts those odds by 1. Now, fill out on your course. The wind took us east and the current went west, carrying before it the crew of the Queen. 5 drifting whaleboats of hopeless men lay at our stern. Our bow, like a finger, points to fortune's door, Panama. A land green-black with tropic growth and our treasure cradled in a mountain nest on our backbone. I put into fair anchorage in the lee of a point. Paid off the hook and called my men. We ride out tonight here in this bay, men. Well, there she is, right up the mountain. The low point between those two peaks.
We still some daylight, love. I say move now.
You'll do no saying, Johnson. We move now right enough, but we'll do it on board. We provision the whaleboat for 10 days.
10 days? Why, it scarce looks a league.
That it does, Tannehill, but it's a stormy course. That's jungle growth. We'll have to fight it all the way to the top. And we'll have no more crossing. Bigsby, look at provisions. Load the whaleboat. Tannehill and Alcott, break out the forge and fashion knives from flensing tools. Make them short in the handle and keen on the edge. You 3 men staying aboard. You'll take up the work till me and Johnson cast off. We'll need our strength.
Us staying aboard?
You take us for
we'll all
fools.
go.
You'll stay aboard. That's an order. A man who thinks different, step up and speak.
You got the map, Mr. Love. The men don't like it that way. Well, what say you, men?
It ain't fair.
What's to keep you from going straight out the other side?
Yes, how do we know you're coming back?
Hold it. Aye, I've got the map. You're right. It's not fair that one man should have it. Tannehill, give me your knife.
Aye, sir.
You men don't trust me. You do trust Johnson. That's very well. So, here, Johnson. Half for you, half for me. Now, does that satisfy you?
Aye. Johnson's for us, fair enough. But you'd better come back. We'll follow you to the gates of hell if you don't.
It's fools who'd leave a ship unmanned. You'll get your share when we open the trail, Johnson and me. All right, now, turn to. Bear a hand. There's a fortune waiting the dawn. The fools. Simple, arrogant fools. And Johnson, too. Content with a worthless half of a map. Landmarks in plain sight, the last and main bearings stowed safe in my head. Every bearing and distance to the final pace memorized from 1,000 readings. Now to find the starting point. The rock with a face in Sanford's notes. Certain great chests of 2 feet deep, 3 broad, and 4 long. Ponderous heavy. A wall of jungle to cut. I needed these fools. Even Johnson, for a time. Jungle. Lush, rich, gentle. It's a trap, a slimy, stinking, creeping green trap. Hold up, Johnson. Fetch up the water. The bugs. The heat. Green snare. Take the lead, Johnson. No man can keep this up.
I say belay it and rest. We need a strength.
We'll move on, Johnson. We've hacked half a day and we're not a cable's length from the sea. Take the lead.
We'll not last if we hold this pace. Look at the blasted insects. Hanging clouds. I say make camp. Likely tomorrow we'll get our second wind.
We'll get it on the move, Johnson. There's still 3 hours of day. I'll take the lead and swing that knife. For 5 killing days, it was hack, slash, hack. Move up the gear, creep on at a tortoise pace. The 6th day, the mountain fanned out on our course, and we rose above that green wall of jungle, and we could see the sea. The masts of the Queen waved gently, not 4 leagues down the slope. The sea breeze caught us and cooled our brow, and the jungle's web thinned, and we rested. We ate and we smoked.
We've passed the worst of it.
Another day at the most, Johnson.
No more.
You look bad, Johnson. Too much for you?
There's a powerful gripe in my back.
Don't be feeling sorry for yourself. I don't feel schooner rig myself. Now take up your gear.
No.
We're moving on.
I can't move on.
You want gold, don't you, Johnson? Fall and you rot in your tracks. There's more for the rest of us. Now move out.
No.
Nothing's stopping me now. The great bearded Johnson with the strength of 2 men. He spent his strength with harboring hate, and he fell to blithering. His big, bloody eyes cast up the trail. Useless he was. Weak and out of his mind.
Chop the line. She's sounding.
What is it, Johnson? You're drooling black.
She'll get 1,000 barrels if it drops, sir. Sperm whale. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Johnson, do you know me, man?
Aye, Captain Thixton.
You're through, Johnson. I'm moving on. The rock's in sight. I've no time for you now.
That's due south 50 paces to such a point as that. But there. It's the cave! Johnson's the cave! Sanford's cave, Johnson! My cave! I found it! It's here. Great chests of gold. Johnson, we found it! Chests of it, Johnson! Look, Johnson. I brought back a handful. Gold. Johnson, look. Lord of mercy. Dead he is. Dead of the fever. And yellow as gold. His face, his hands, all yellow like gold. Oh, my hands. No, it's not the blight like Johnson. It's just gold dust. It'll wash off. It's not the blight. My hands, my limbs, it don't wash off. No. It's the devil's bait on the gilded hook. This fever's the devil's breath. I can feel it now. Boiling up my bile, painting me gold. It'll cook out my soul and leave me poor. This fever, this devil's yellow blight.
The good old summertime may be fun for you, but it's no picnic for your car. Hot summer weather and gritty dust can take your car off the road right into the repair shop. That's why it's important to make sure now that your car is safely lubricated. Get protection against wear and breakdown with Richfield All-Point Safety Service. The Richfield gasoline dealer will give your car a careful all-point lubrication job using Rich Lube lithium lubricant, the new premium lubricant that stands up under the toughest use, that wears like iron. Then he'll change your oil to fresh Rich Lube all-weather motor oil, the oil that cleans your motor as it lubricates. And finally, the Richfield dealer will give your car a careful safety check of all the likely trouble spots. So why take chances? Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service from the Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape was produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight has presented Yellow Wake by Bud Nelson. Featured in tonight's cast were Bill Conrad as Love, John Hoyt as Sanford, John Dana as Johnson, Will Gear as Thixton. Also heard were Paul Freese, Stacey Harris, Harry Bartell, and George Offerman Jr. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You're in India, lying in bed at night, when suddenly a crate, the most deadly poisonous snake in the world, crawls into bed with you. The slightest movement will bring you to a horrible death, from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an unforgettable story of a night of terror in Bombay, as Roald Dahl tells it in his story, Poison. Be listening. Goodbye, then, until this same time, next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to India, and the story of a man trapped in his bed by a crate, the most deadly, poisonous snake in the world, as Roald Dahl tells it in his terrifying story, Poison.
Listen, it's an awful good story, but to get the point, you got to understand about two things. What kind of a guy Harry Pope was and what kind of a snake a crate is. First, the crate. You spell it K-R-A-I-T. They're in India, the crates are. Little snakes, sometimes not more than 3 or 4 inches long. You have to look real careful if you're going to see one at all. Really almost like a worm. Except that it's the most poisonous snake in the world. It can bite faster than a bumblebee, and when it does, you go up like a firecracker, swell up like a hot water bottle, and in fly the angels. Crate. Tiny little snake. Now about Harry Pope. Funny guy. He had it in for anybody who wasn't American, who didn't speak his language. He called them foreigners, and he called them that army word, gook. Didn't matter if they were French, Italian, or Japanese. Gook. Foreigner, he'd say. It's kind of buggy on the subject. Funny guy. Well, Harry and me, we got sent out to Bombay on this construction job, and that's where the trouble started. You see, except for the 2 of us, the crew was made up of local boys, Hindus and Muslims, 40 of them. Harry was like a cat in a room full of dogs, had his back up every minute. After a month or so, it began to wear him out. Got so his appetite wasn't right. He was smoking 3 and 4 packs a day, and he wasn't getting his sleep. I used to try to straighten him out. Used to tell him he was wrong.
No, Woody, there's no use talking to you.
Listen, Harry, they're all good boys. Why don't you take it easy?
Woody, you and I are good friends, but there are a lot of things you just don't understand.
You ought to take it easy, Harry. They're all human beings, just like you and me.
They're gooks, Woody. Foreigners. Look, think about it this way. How'd you like your sister to marry one of them?
I haven't got a sister, and anyway, you've asked me that before.
Yeah, you see? You won't even make the effort to understand.
Well, that's how it was with Harry, and you know about the crate. Now about what happened. It was June of last year. It was hot and sticky, even though the sun was down. I was putting on a clean shirt to go out.
Oh, man, I'm really beat tonight. What's with you, Woody? What's the clean shirt for?
Going out.
What do you got, a date?
No, I thought I'd stop off at Dr. Ganderby's. He promised he'd show me the photos he made down in the leper colony.
Ganderby?
Yeah. These photos are supposed to be pretty interesting stuff. Well, how about it, Harry? Would you like to come along?
Ganderby? He's a Hindu. A gook. Foreigner. I don't want to spend no evening with a gook. Shoot, not old Harry.
So I went off to the doctor's, and Harry went to bed with a detective story. I had a very interesting evening. Later, old Harry was plenty sorry that he stayed home. I didn't leave the doctor's until around midnight, and when I drove back through the sleeping city, it was very quiet and dark. I thought about the pictures of the lepers I'd seen. I remember thinking, I hope Harry's awake, because I'd like to tell him about those pictures. And when I got home, I was glad to see the light in his room was still burning.
Harry, you up?
I didn't get an answer. Probably fell asleep reading.
Harry, you awake, Harry?
Woody.
Harry, boy, what's the matter, kid?
Stop, Woody. Take off your shoes.
I couldn't tell what was the matter, but I knew he was serious, whatever it was about, so I did what he wanted. He was in bed, under his netting, with a reading light on, his book on the floor. He lay quite still, and the sheet came halfway up his chest. He was wearing those corny pajamas of his with the big checks all over them. And the pajamas were soaked in the sweat that was rolling off his face. He lay like a corpse, flat on his back, with his hands lying dead on the bed. His hands, even the backs of them, were sweating. His eyes looked like he was watching somebody saw his leg off. Woody, what's the matter, boy?
It's a crate.
Crate? Where?
The man is sick.
Where? Under the netting?
No. Under the sheet.
Where'd it bite you?
It hasn't. Yet.
Where under the sheet?
Right on my belly.
Holy son.
You can wake it up if you don't cut out that yellow.
How'd it get in there?
I don't know. Came up under the netting, I guess. Or it's been in the bed all day.
Is it a big one?
No. Crate don't have to be big. Looked about 3 or 4 inches. Come along my side. I didn't move. It went under the sheet. One of them folds. One of them wrinkles there over my belly.
How long ago did it come?
Hours. Hours and hours and days and weeks. Woody, I've been waiting a year for you to get home.
You must be sleeping in there, huh?
Yeah. I think it is.
All right, now listen, Harry. Maybe it'll wake up and go away. Go home or something, huh?
I can't wait, Woody. I've been lying here scared I'd move something and wake it up.
Yeah, you're scared and it'll bite.
I've been lying here scared to death I'd cough.
All right, don't you worry about a thing, Harry. I know just what to do.
Where you going, Woody? Don't leave me.
The thing was to be ready to cauterize the bite right away. I'd heard about one method. I went out to the kitchen, and I got a whole fistful of those big kitchen matches, and I took them back to the bedroom. Arranged them all with the heads together. Held them like you'd hold a torch.
What are you going to do? What are the matches for?
Now, listen, Harry, here's how it goes. These will cauterize, see? So we count 3, flip back the sheet, and you jump out of bed. Now, you follow me?
You're out of your mind.
No, listen, Harry. If the crate bites you, I strike the bundle and press it against the spot, and it burns out the poison, see? While the matches...
Get away from me. You're a bubble-headed maniac.
No, Harry, I'm only trying to...
Listen, Woody, take your matches and your bright ideas and get the heck out of here. Call the doctor.
The doctor? I never thought of that.
Now get to it.
Okay, Harry. Who do you want? Ganderby or Forsyth?
Forsyth. Things are bad enough without you. Gotta bring that gook in here.
I dug through the telephone book and I found Dr. Matson B. Forsyth's number and I dialed it.
This is the residence of the Dr. Matson B. Forsyth, please.
Yeah, let me speak to the doctor. It's very urgent.
Who is calling, please?
Arthur Woods.
Who?
Woods. Arthur Woods.
Spell, please.
Woods. W.
W.
O.
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 You have already said O. I have already written O. Have the kindness to give me the next letter, please.
O. It's O after O.
Please?
Look, my name is Woods.
Spell, please.
W. O. O. D.
W-O-O. Aha.
D-S. Woods.
Woods. W-O-O-D-S. Mr. Woods.
That's right. That's just right. Now, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Sorry. Doctor not in. Call tomorrow.
Across the room, Harry lay very still, sweating, trying to keep every muscle relaxed. His face was beginning to twitch a little. I was scared. If that twitch should spread... I called the doctor's house again.
Please, I do not understand.
Look, I said if you don't tell me where the doctor is, I'm going to come over there and pull your arms off, and then I'm going to take you by the neck and...
The doctor is at the club, please.
What club?
The country club. Ring 673.
Harry lay very still, fighting the twitches, trying to keep from jumping out of his skin, while I waited for the bartender at the club to locate Dr. Forsyth. After about 5 minutes and nothing, I got this.
Are you there?
Listen, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. This is Arthur Woods, and my partner. He's got a snake in the bed with him. Doctor?
Would you mind repeating that, old boy?
I said snake. He's got a snake in the bed with him.
Snake? Oh, Jolly. I say, who is this? This is Captain Smart speaking.
Please, Doctor, you got to get over here right away. It's urgent.
Smart you can. You don't fool me. Not for an instant, you don't.
Oh, please, Doctor.
Snake in bed.
Listen, is this Dr. Forsyth speaking?
Yeah, of course not. It's Colonel Harcourt.
Oh, well, let me speak to the doctor, please.
Oh, but you can't, old fellow.
Why not?
Why, he's jolly well passed out, don't you know?
Passed out.
Like a mackerel. Snake in the...
Listen, Harry, you got to forget all this prejudice stuff. Ganderby's your only chance.
No, he's a gook.
He went to Oxford, Harry.
He's a gook.
It's him or the Undertaker.
He's a gook.
I'm going to call him, Harry.
All right. Go ahead, call him. but he's a gook.
I called him. And when I mentioned crate, he was quiet for a good 10 seconds, and then he said he'd be right over. And he was within 5 minutes. He was wearing felt slippers, and he moved silently into the bedroom. He was carrying his black satchel, and when I saw the lamplight glinting softly in his steel-rimmed spectacles, saw his wise, gentle eyes, his bald brown head, I thought to myself, why, he looks just like Mahatma Gandhi. He looked silently at Harry and smiled encouragingly. Harry looked at him, looked at me, and looked away.
Now, first we must very carefully remove the netting from about the bed. Mr. Pope, I want you to pay no attention to us. You are to concentrate on being very quiet, on letting the little snake sleep. It is a very little snake, and it is very tired. You must tell yourself this, and you must believe it is necessary for it to sleep.
Yeah.
Mr. Wood, help me lift the netting very slowly. Up and up. Good.
What are you going to do for me?
Think about the little snake.
What do you think I'm thinking about? What are you going to do for me?
The snake. It is here?
It's in one of those folds over his abdomen, Doctor.
Now we all know where it is.
Pretend you are the mother of the little snake. You are keeping it warm. It is sleeping. That is good.
Just so as it don't wake up and want breakfast.
You joke? That is good.
I wish I was back home in the good old USA.
Now then.
What are you going to do, Doctor?
I have a serum here. You will inject it into the blood of Mr. Pope. Then, as he puts it, the little snake may breakfast to his heart's content without harm to Mama.
His hands were brown and slender and astonishingly deft. He poked the hypodermic into a capsule of thick yellowish stuff, the serum, and then with infinite care he drew the plunger slowly and steadily upward. The glistening chamber filled. He withdrew the needle, laid the hypodermic down, and then with all the gentleness in the world, he began to fold back Harry's sleeve. It was as though he were folding rare old lace. He inched the sleeve carefully, under, and up Harry's arm until the vein came into view.
I'm going to fasten a tourniquet on your arm now. It will be just above the elbow. Do not move your arm. Do not twitch your muscle.
Gently he tightened the rubber tourniquet, and Harry's arm began to flush dark. The vein began to swell blue and tight. Harry kept his eyes on the ceiling.
Now I'm going to insert the needle in the vein. You must not react. By that I mean you must not tense your abdominal muscles. Believe me, Mr. Pope, this will not hurt.
Very carefully he placed the syringe almost flat against the arm, slid the needle in sideways through the skin and into the blue vein, slid it slowly but so firmly that it went in smooth as a knife going into a cheese.
Doc, you're good, aren't you, Doc?
You must believe that.
You're going to let me die, are you, Doc?
I'm your friend. You must believe that.
Are you, Doc? You won't let me die?
No, I will not let you die. Now, be still and think about that.
With all the care in the world as he had pushed the needle into the vein, now he pressed the plunger down, pressed the serum through the needle and into Harry Pope's body. I watched Harry. His eyes were on the wise, gentle face of Dr. Ganderby. His eyes wanted desperately to believe what Ganderby had told him. Now the hypodermic was empty, and slowly it was withdrawn. And then slowly the deft, graceful little hands loosened the rubber tourniquet. And then Ganderby looked up, met Harry's eyes, and smiled. Harry tried to smile back, but the smile jumped and twitched and died.
You're taking care of me, huh, Doc?
Yes, my son. Now you must be still while the serum is pumped through your body. Be very still and be very assured. I'm your friend.
Oh.
The serum will save you. You will escape harm.
He beckoned to me, and I followed him out of the room and out onto the dark porch. The air was heavy and hot. Ganderby stared out at the blackness, drummed his fingers softly on the railing.
Your friend is in grave danger.
Yeah, but the serum. You gave him the serum.
I gave him the serum.
It isn't any good.
It is the finest known to medical science, and it is worthless.
To most of us, science is something strange and mysterious. We think of magic medicines and supersonic planes. But here's a scientific achievement that's as real as your car and as near as your Richfield dealer. It's xylene, one of the highest anammox gasoline components ever discovered by scientific research. And xylene can benefit you today, because every gallon of Richfield gasoline now contains xylene. Xylene to give your car that smooth, knockless power that eats up the miles. Xylene for that swift, eager response you need in traffic. Furthermore, there's a Richfield gasoline to fit your motor. Your Richfield dealer offers 2 great Richfield gasolines, both with xylene. Get Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for top results in highest compression motors. Get Richfield gasoline tomorrow. Stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
So there it was. Harry Pope, the man who had been an enemy of anyone and everyone who didn't come from his country or speak his language, was now halfway through death's door. And his only hope lay in a Dr. Ganderby of another race, another creed, another country, and another color. Now, for the first time in his life, Harry had made a gesture of friendship toward a person of another race. First time. And it seemed to me the last.
No, my friend. The serum is worthless.
So what can we do then? The snake is bound to wake sooner or later. Harry will move. He won't be able to help himself, and the snake will strike.
We must think.
Look, I'll shoot it. I can hold the gun low and flat so that even if I hit Harry, it won't be a penetrating wound, and I'll blow the snake sheet and all. Clear the bed, huh?
But you don't even know which of the many folds and creases in that sheet is the harbor of the snake.
Yeah.
You might shoot the air.
Yeah.
You would most certainly wake the snake then.
No, we can't do that.
I think I have a solution, Mr. Wood.
Yeah?
We will anesthetize the snake. Yes. We will use nitrous oxide or ether or chloroform. I think the last. Chloroform, yes.
We put the snake out right while he's lying on Harry? Is that the idea?
That is it, Mr. Woods. Now, if you will please drive quickly down to my house, my boy will show you where I keep my supplies. The chloroform is in a bottle with an orange label.
Orange label?
Yes. Bring it back as quickly as you can. I will stay with Mr. Pope and try to keep him assured.
He seems to like you.
We all like the doctor when we are sick.
I drove it as fast as I could. The houseboy at the doctor's thought I was a madman at first, but then he decided in my favor, showed me where the stuff was. I found the bottle with the orange label, smelled it to make sure, and then took off back to the house. I eased the car up the driveway and tiptoed into the bedroom.
You're my friend, Doctor? My pal?
Yes, I am your friend, and I am not going to let any harm come to you.
Here's Willie. He's my friend, too, Doc.
Here's the stuff, Doctor.
Willie, I've been an awful dope all my life. You know that, Willie?
It's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay from now on.
The doc here, my friend here, I didn't like him when he first came into the room. Why? Because he wasn't an American or even an Englishman. What do you know about that, huh? He's my friend.
Oh, it's okay, Harry. You're going to be okay now, boy.
I've been a prize dope.
Mr. Woods, you have to help me.
Right. He pulled a prescription pad out of his case, tore the cardboard backing off, and twisted it into a neat little funnel. He laid this on the edge of the bed. And then he took the piece of hollow rubber tubing which had been used as a tourniquet, and he began to slide it into the sheet. It went in where the sheet ended, across Harry's chest, and he slid it down. He slid it slowly, so slowly that although I was watching it, I didn't see it move. Hours seemed to crawl by. The tube inched invisibly on and down, down and down, past the unseen buttons of his jacket, past the unseen cord to his trousers, and then it stopped. Ganderby had sent it by a route which did not cross any of the creases in the sheet. He was being very careful not to prod the snake with it. He was sweating, too, now, sweating and biting his lip with his teeth. Funny, I remember now, one was gold. I remember staring at it while he inched that tube.
Now the funnel. I fit it into the end of the tube, and we are ready. Mr. Pope, this is going to be very cold. The evaporation of the chloroform will cause a sharp lowering of the temperature. You must be prepared for this. It will take rather a long time, another factor for which you must prepare yourself. The snake is a reptile, and reptiles do not react quickly to the anesthetics which are intended for the use of warm-blooded animals. Bear these things in mind. Are you ready?
Sure. Friend.
He opened the bottle and began to drip the stuff into the funnel. Slowly, very slowly, drop by drop, the clear liquid entered the tube and traveled a long, dark route to Harry Pope's stomach, where the crate lay sleeping. Drop by drop, a pale, swirling vapor hung over the funnel. Down there on the sheet, where the tube ended, a wet gray patch began to spread, the chloroform spreading and evaporating, spreading and evaporating. The room began to reek of it. And I remembered other places and other times, hospitals, operations, the death of loved ones, smell of chloroform. Harry began to twitch now. His nose, he seemed to be in agony.
Woody.
Harry, what is it?
I think I'm gonna sneeze.
Don't do it, boy. Hang on, Harry. You gotta hang on. Don't. Ganderby looked at Harry's face. He reached up, pressed his knuckle against some nerve on Harry's upper lip, and the agonized look vanished. The relentless dripping of the chloroform continued. Harry was getting cold. I could see goose flesh along his arms, across the top of his chest where the jacket was open. Ganderby looked at this and stopped pouring.
That is enough. I think our little friend should be thoroughly unconscious now. Mr. Pope, you must remain very still. We are going to remove the sheet now.
Anything you say, Doctor.
Mr. Woods, you take the other side. We will have to do this ever so carefully.
We each took a side of the hymn. I watched Ganderby and did everything that he did. Harry's arms were still flat on the bed, pointing toward his feet. We inched the sheet under and free of these. It was rough, because we had to do it without disturbing the main area of the sheet. When it was free of his arms, we began to raise it slowly, gathering the material in our hands as we progressed ever so slowly down Harry's chest. We reached the end of his jacket. No sign of the snake. My hands were beginning to shake. Ganderby paused while I turned my head away for air. The odor of chloroform was stifling. And then we went on, slowly, thread by thread, raising the sheet and easing it away, down past the cord of his pajamas, and down, and still no sign of the snake. I'd stopped looking for it by now. I was concentrating on keeping my arms from shaking. And then, quite suddenly, we were done. Ganderby dropped the sheet on the floor. Harry lay on his back, not moving, but watching us with wide, terrorized eyes. Ganderby squinted at both sides of Harry, at his legs.
Where is it?
It is not as you suppose on the outside of your pajama pants. It must be up one of the legs.
Harry, no! Stop it!
I don't see it.
Kick those tatters of cloth, the remains of his pants.
No, nothing.
The bed. Under the bed.
Yeah. Nothing, Harry. Harry, move your feet. No, there's nothing.
Mr. Pope, are you quite certain you saw a snake? Sometimes when we are very tired, we find our autosuggestive faculties run a bit out of hand.
Are you calling me a liar?
Why, no. I merely say that the autosuggestive...
Are you telling me I'm a liar?
Harry.
Why, you lousy little quack. Call me a liar. You stinking little Hindu witch doctor with your fancy pants on.
Harry!
Come in here sticking me full of your cheap, no-good medicine.
Harry, don't!
Pour that freezing cold up all over
Harry,
me.
take it easy. Harry's your friend.
My friend? That little hunk of foreign trash, my friend. Why, where I come from, where you guys live, khaki like him for busboys.
You make a mistake. You are wrong.
Yeah, for busboys, for waiters, for nothing. You're a foreigner. You're a gook. You're a nothing. Boy, I ought to beat you to a bloody pulp. You and your chloroform. You and your stuff about friendship and Mama Snake. And I must make out like I like you. I ought to split your head wide open, you gook! You gook! You gook! You gook!
Please, Doctor, forgive him. He's been under a great strain. He doesn't mean it.
A great strain, yes. He needs a good holiday. Good night, Mr. Woods.
That's all. I couldn't tell this if old Harry was still alive. Poor old Harry. He didn't die in India. He died in Chicago, in the Loop. Got run over by a taxi cab. The driver was third-generation Irish, a real 100% white American. Maybe that means something, I don't know. Poor old Harry.
Believe it or not, but the very life of your car depends on oil. Without oil, your motor would grind itself to pieces in a matter of minutes. That's why you need an oil that stands up under every driving condition. That's why you need Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the finest Pennsylvania crude oil ever discovered. That's your guarantee that Rich Lube won't burn up even under the terrific heat of hard summer driving. Its tough, long-lasting oil film is your faithful watchdog. It protects your motor every mile you drive. You can depend on it. Moreover, Rich Lube motor oil combats carbon and other harmful deposits by its special cleansing action. It cleans as it lubricates your motor. Keep your motor young. Keep your motor clean. See your Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Ask him to change your oil to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight is presented Poison by Roald Dahl and adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in tonight's cast were Jack Webb as Woody, Bill Conrad as Harry, Jane Novello as Gandabai, and Charlie Long as the houseboy. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are lost in the headhunter territory of New Guinea, fighting your way through the swamps in search of gold. With you is a giant brute of a man and his beautiful wife, who doesn't care which of you is killed or who kills him, and from whose evil treachery there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an exciting story of evil and violence in the deadly swamps of New Guinea, as Jules Archer tells it in Two Came Back. Goodbye then until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York, marketers of Richfield gasolines, motor oils, and other petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the headhunter backcountry on the island of New Guinea, and the story of two men trapped there with a beautiful but treacherous woman. As Jules Archer tells it in Two Came Back.
Suppose this big guy, 6'5", grabs your hand and says,
"You're my pal, Johnny. There's $1 million jackpot, and I'm cutting you in."
And suppose this blonde number, all curves and green eyes, leans up soft and murmurs,
Johnny, you're bad. Like me? I like you bad. Like me.
And suppose this blonde number, all curves and green eyes, waits until his big back is turned and then leans up again. It can get to be a problem, you know what I mean? A problem. By the time we'd passed over the Golden Gate and were headed out over the Pacific to the west, I could see this business of Gabe and Lily and me was strictly for the squirrels, and I wanted no part of it. There was no backing out now. I'd tried that for a week before takeoff, and it hadn't worked.
Johnny, don't talk crazy. You're my friend, aren't you? Aren't you?
Sure, Gabe. Sure I'm your friend, but I don't want to go, that's all.
Oh, you gotta go, Johnny. It's $1 million strike, I tell you. Oh, and after what you've done for me, I gotta let you in. I gotta.
You really ought to come, Johnny.
Well, I don't know. But I did know. I knew that $1 million strike or no $1 million strike, this was the time for me, John Walker, to stay home. You see, it was all because this pal, this Gabe, had been my sergeant on New Guinea. We were doing guerrilla mop-up work. Rugged duty, what with the Japs scattered all over thousands of miles of interior and all. When Gabe disappeared, just plain vanished. We all figured the guy had caught one and was dead. Lieutenant reported him missing in action. We forgot about him. Then one morning, about 3 weeks later, he shows. Not a scratch, not a word about where he's been or why or what. Well, they were all for shipping him back to Guam for a desertion trial, but Gabe, being a real rough soldier and all, being the kind of guy we needed bad right then, they decided to chuck the book for the time being and keep him on. It was, like I say, guerrilla mop-up work. And a couple of nights later, we were heading down this trail when a machine gun nest went off right in our face. We all hit the ground, excepting Gabe. He dropped to one knee and sprayed the trees with his Browning. A big guy, he stood out like a pinwheel on the 4th of July. Yep, Gabe caught one. I saw the BAR fall out of his hands, and down he went. I wriggled through the kunai grass and onto the jungle trail and got him by his collar. And now, why go into it? I was a hero, I guess. I saved his life. And what did it get me?
Baby.
Trouble. It was in the spring of 47 that Gabe's letters finally caught up with me. I was in New York then. He was in Frisco. At first, I thought it was, well, just the old hoorah, but I was his buddy for keeps because I'd saved his life. But one of the letters had a plane ticket and a C-note along with a line about, I'm going to let you in on something big if you'll just come out to the coast. So I thought, maybe the guy's got something. I caught the plane, and the next day I found myself walking down this empty street in Frisco with an address in my hand. And a real funny feeling in my head that I ought to turn around and go back home.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Looking for somebody?
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I see I got the wrong address. Hey, that's a real slick house coat you got on it.
This? Oh, no, it's just an old thing, you know.
Well, on you, it looks like $1 million.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What address was it you were looking for?
403.
This is 403.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does Gabor Krilovich live here?
My husband.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Gabe! For you! A man.
Yeah? What does he want?
I can't imagine.
Oh, why... Oh, Johnny! Oh, Johnny, boy. So you got here, huh?
Sure.
Oh, gee, am I glad to see you.
Gabe, you're looking good.
Hey, so are you. Look at that guy.
Is this the Johnny you've been talking so much about?
Yeah, Lily, this is Johnny. Johnny, meet Lily. Lily, Johnny. Hey, didn't know I got married, did you, guy?
No, Gabe. No, I didn't know you'd got married.
Yeah. Not a bad little dish for a big slob like me, huh?
Congratulations.
Shall we come in out of this doorway?
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, Johnny, here you guy. You know, Johnny saved my life, honey. Did I tell you?
1,000,000 times.
And that's how I met Lily. Well, that night we sat up talking until the sun came up. I was wondering just what she was trying to pull. Marrying this bohunkus with his big feet and dirty undershirt and all when he hauled out the little leather bag and dumped the contents all over the table.
Hey, what do you think of this, Johnny?
Gabe. Gabe, that gold?
That's just samples. Where that came from, there's enough more to make us all millionaires, Johnny.
You're kidding.
No. Hey, remember in New Guinea when I went AWOL?
Yeah.
That was just before Johnny saved my life, honey. Did I ever tell you about Johnny saving my life?
Yeah,
Gabe, about the gold, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, when I went AWOL, I thought I'd just do a little fishing or something. You know, I was kind of tired of the war. You understand?
Yeah, I understand, Gabe.
So I took off into the hills. Oh, Johnny, that is some country. Believe me. Wild but pretty. Real pretty. And what sunset. You never saw such...
Gabe,
Huh?
the gold.
Oh, yeah. Well, I seen this quartz stuff up there in the hills, and some of it was glittering. Huh? Well, this is it. I made me a map. When I came back down, I can find it again without any trouble. That is, we can find it.
You and me?
And Lily, the three of us. Lily wouldn't want to miss all that adventure, would you, baby?
I should say not.
See? Ain't she cute? Ain't she? You know, every time I look at her, Johnny, I wonder, now why would a cute little dish like that marry a big slob like me?
Because you're so manly, sweetmeats.
Sweetmeat? Hey, did you hear that, Johnny? Ain't she the limit? Sweetmeat. Me.
Well, it didn't take any great genius to figure that she'd smelled money when she married him. It also didn't take any great genius to figure that Lily was going to disrupt some harmony. Now, I've never seen myself as a wife stealer, you know. So by the time that Gabe had bought all the stuff for the trip, I was ready to duck out, money or no. But Gabe wouldn't hear of it. And, well, you know how it is when you put things off. All of a sudden, I wake up to realize that we're flying over the Golden Gate and on out west over the Pacific. And I thought, oh, this is no good. And you know something? I was right. San Francisco to Honolulu. From Honolulu to Guam. Guam to Moresby. And all the time she's leaning up against me with perfume and all, and those big green eyes. Moresby to Salamaua. Salamaua to Wewak. And Gabe has given me the happy stuff about how glad he is his best friend and his wife like each other so much. Then down over the palm groves, the native lacatories, sago-thatched huts, down, and there we were. New Guinea. Gold. Trouble.
Yeah, going up the Pacific River, eh, mates?
Yeah. Oh, you better give us a couple of pounds of that powdered milk there.
Pacific River. That's a rum country, that. Another patrol officer got done in up there last week.
Done in?
Oh, hey, how about some .45 ammunition?
Oh, sure. Yes, done in. 8 hunters.
Gabe, you didn't tell me there were headhunters.
Huh? Oh, don't you worry, honey. You got me and Johnny to look out for you.
Well, it's no bloody business of mine, mate. Here. This the ammo you want?
Yeah. That's...
No bloody business of mine, but I wouldn't take a woman up into that country. Might make it worse.
Worse? What's worse than getting your head hung up on a pole? Gabe, I want to go home.
Oh, now don't you worry, honey.
Of course, a woman would be a prize up there, lady. I mean, they wouldn't kill her. Odds are they'd make a queen out of her. Wouldn't touch her, just worship her like.
That's good?
Well, that's up to you.
Well, I don't like it.
An hour later, packs bulging with supplies, we were off on the trail that wound up over the Purple Mountains, the Prince Alexander Range. and on toward my. Gabe carried the heavy floatboat bag topped with a thick duffel of provisions. I followed, carrying 2 packs, one on top of the other. Lily brought up the rear, carrying a light pack of clothing, mostly her own. It was rough going that first day. Gabe didn't seem to mind. But me, my feet started to cave in after the first 10 miles. It was all right with me when Lily squawked.
Gabe!
What?
Let's stop.
Well, it's only 3:30, huh?
Let's stop, Gabe.
Another couple of hours, we can be over the first mountain.
Manana, Gabe. My back is breaking.
Okay, honey.
He lowered his big pack and then took off into the jungle.
Hey, where are you going?
We'll need some firewood.
Oh. Oh, Johnny. I'm tired.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it feels good to get those on. Oh, whoever heard of carrying 2 packs at once?
Good old Gabe.
Yeah.
Come here, Johnny.
Huh? What do you want?
I know what you think about me, Johnny. You think I'm bad. It's only because I'm bored. Unhappy and bored. I could be a one-man woman, Johnny.
Oh, I'm glad to hear about
For
it.
the right man, Johnny.
Sure.
For you, Johnny.
I think Gabe would think it's such a hot idea.
Maybe he wouldn't have to, Johnny.
Meaning?
Maybe after we get the gold, he'll fall off a cliff. Or he gets eaten up by a tiger or stepped on by an elephant.
There's no elephants in New Guinea.
Don't be dull, Johnny.
I gotta be, Lily. I gotta be. You're real poison.
Oh, Johnny.
You're real bad poison.
Mm-hmm. I'm bad. So are you, Johnny.
Yeah. You know, that looks real funny. Lipstick in a jungle.
You think so?
Mm.
Looks even funnier on you.
You're nothing to do with it, baby.
Here comes Gabe.
I forgot my gun. Always like to carry a gun in the jungle. Never know when you're gonna run into a snake. Huh, Johnny?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Gabe.
Yeah. You never know.
For years, scientists have been improving your car's performance by making gasoline better and better. But there's one discovery scientists have made that's different from all the rest. It's a gasoline component called xylene. Xylene is one of the highest anti-knock gasoline components ever discovered. And today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains this super component xylene. Xylene in Richfield gasoline gives higher than ever anti-knock performance. You get that eager pickup in traffic, that surging power that puts you out in front every time. What's more, you have a choice of 2 great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Your Richfield dealer offers Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor. Or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for knockless performance in the highest compression motors. Test Richfield gasoline with xylene in your car for just 1 week. We know what your choice will be. Tomorrow, stop where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. And now we return you to Escape.
Well, there it was. The lady wanted me to kill her husband and live a life of pleasure on our ill-gotten gains. Very dramatic situation, except for a minor point. She had figured that I shouldn't kill him until after he'd found the gold mine. And another minor point being that I was his best friend. But you know how it is. A life, best friends always kill best friends. Oh, sure. But while this sordid drama unreal, we had to hike through that lousy jungle. Hike, and my feet were killing me. The 6th day was the worst one of the trip. We were wading through mangrove swamps thick with huge, thirsty leeches. There were giant mosquitoes that swarmed around us in clouds, and every time I slapped one, I killed 10. Oh, sure, we had mosquito lotion. They loved it.
Gabe?
What?
When are we going to get to the river? Gabe?
After a while, honey. After a while.
After a while turned out to be 9 days more. Then we reached the Sepik, a sluggish, muddy river winding like a serpent through huge, green-furred mountain ranges.
And now we ride.
We blew up the collapsible boat, loaded all of our stuff aboard, and shoved off. I took the bow, Gabe the stern, Lily sat amidships on a pile of sacks.
Easy, Gabe, will you? This baby was designed for 2 people, not 3. We're drawing a lot of water.
Don't worry, Johnny. This is flood season. And with flood season, the water's high. We can carry 3, but later it won't work. Then it'll be only 2.
Yeah, but we'll be back before then.
Sure, Johnny.
From time to time when we camped, Lily would give me the business. She didn't seem to care whether Gabe caught on or not. I cared. I cared a whole lot. And Gabe, I didn't know yet what it was that he was feeling.
You saved my life, Johnny. I owe you a lot.
Maybe that's what it was. But one afternoon we camped early and went for a swim. I was paddling around. The water felt good. Abe and Lily got out and were drying off when all of a sudden I looked up. It was Gabe. He was standing on the bank, not 20 feet away, with his .45 pointed right at me. I dove. I dove as deep as I could. I could still hear him shoot. I stayed down until I thought my lungs were going to pop. I surfaced. Gabe was waving at me and yelling.
Come out, Johnny! Come out!
You're crazy, Gabe! Don't shoot anymore!
I'm not shooting at you! Come out!
So I came out. Then I looked around. And there, a few feet beyond where I'd been, was a tremendous crocodile with blood streaming out of him.
When you dove, I thought sure he had you.
Yeah.
Why'd you die?
I don't know. I must have lost my head.
Gabe saved your life, Johnny.
Yeah.
I guess that evens us up, huh?
Yeah, I guess so, Gabe.
No, I don't owe you a thing.
That's right.
But you're still my pal, huh, Johnny?
Well, you figure that one. We kept on going until we came to a place where a narrow, rocky tributary came boiling down a big mountain and into the Sepik. This was where we started walking again. The goal was up that fast little creek, and we could never paddle against that current. So we folded the boat, shouldered it and the packs, and started climbing. For a day and a half, we scrambled up that mountain by the fast little stream. Then we came to a wall of gray and white rock. Gabe said, "This is where the gold is." And he was right. Holy schmagoli, that gold. Sure, we had to work to get it out of the rock. Well, in 6 days, we took out nearly $500,000 worth. We could have taken more, but the stuff was heavy, you know. No, you don't know. You've never seen that much pure gold. Well, just take my word for it. 6 days later, we started down the mountain. Then, when we made camp by the river that night, Lily waited until Gabe was sound asleep.
Johnny.
Yeah?
Now, Johnny.
Now what?
Now you can kill him.
Oh, go away, will you? I want my slate.
Do it now, Johnny.
Look, baby, I don't want to kill anybody. I'm a rich man. Will you get smart?
Smart? You get smart, Johnny.
What do you mean by that?
3 ways isn't good enough on the split. I want it 2 ways.
Oh, nuts.
And if you won't kill him, I'll get him to kill you. After all, Johnny, you're the serpent in our happy marriage.
Shut up, will you? Listen.
I don't hear anything except the water.
Yeah. Well, a minute ago, you couldn't hear that for Gabe snoring. They came in the morning. While we were loading up, they came out of nowhere.
Get down!
What's that?
Down! There it is!
But we could tell from the arrows where they were. We laid low and tried to make every shot count. It wasn't long before we saw they really meant business. They weren't going to go away.
Johnny!
Doc!
We haven't got enough ammunition to last more than 10 minutes at this rate.
Oh, that's just great.
Can you keep them off that long?
Why? Why? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna get down to the stream and load up the boat.
You're crazy, Gabe. You can't make it down that stream.
Sure we can. It's that or end up with your head on a pole.
Okay, Gabe.
All right. Now cover me. Here I shot you and Lily. Come fast.
All right. The longest 10 minutes of my life. Lily lay there beside me. She was plenty scared, and she had every right to be. Those arrows were ugly, big and jagged and sharp.
Johnny, those hours are getting closer.
Will you stop jiggling my arm?
I can't help it.
Look, how am I going to shoot if you jiggle my arm?
Suppose I get Gabe.
That'll be tough.
Yeah.
How come you worry about Gabe at a time like this?
Gabe, Schnabe, I'm worried about the gold.
Oh, you dear, sweet girl. Will you stop jiggling my arm?
So sorry.
3 minutes. 4. 5. I kept firing.
Have you any idea what you're shooting at? I mean it. You just point it at the grass and go back.
Will you shut up?
I should have stood in Frisco.
You should have stood in Frisco.
Oh, don't talk. Just keep shooting.
How can I keep shooting when you keep jiggling my arm? A nasty little thought crawled into my mind. Here I was up to my ankles in arrows, and there was Gabe with a boat, $500,000, and a downhill ride to freedom. Just suppose... Lily must have gotten the same idea.
I'm going to go help Gabe, Johnny. He may need help.
Stay here.
No. Goodbye, Johnny.
Why did I stay? I don't know. I lay there and kept shooting and kept thinking, oh, you sucker, they'll go off without you. But I stayed. Came 10 minutes, I heard it. Gabe signaled. The boat was already in the water, all loaded to go. Gabe faced the jungle, his automatic ready. Lily was crouching on the sand.
Good boy, Johnny. Thanks.
You all set?
Yeah. Just one thing I didn't count on.
What's that?
With all this gold in the boat, it'll only carry 2 people now.
Okay, Gabe, okay, I get it. Only one thing. Leave me your gun and ammo, will you? I want to die hard.
Wait a minute, Johnny, wait a minute. Maybe we ought to ask Lily who she thinks ought to stay. Maybe she'd rather I stay.
No, Gabe.
How about it, Lily? Who do you want to stay?
That's a tough question. I know. You both got guns. Why don't you fight a duel for it? It'll only take a second, and the winner gets me and the gold. The one who stays behind will be dead, so he won't have to be tortured by headhunters.
Oh, she's pretty cute, huh, Johnny?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Get in the boat, Johnny.
No, Gabe, look, go. You go. Look, now's your chance for a clean start.
Get in the boat, Johnny, or I'll kill you.
You sure this is how you want it, Gabe?
This is how I want it. Yeah, that's it, Johnny. Now, you all set?
Yeah, Gabe. I'm all set.
I hope you can get us down, Johnny. It's an awful fast stream.
Don't you worry about it, Lily.
Why not?
Because it works this way. If either Johnny or me stays here, he gets tortured and then gets his head cut off. If you stay here, you can be a queen. You can live. They won't even touch you. You'll rule a whole tribe all by yourself.
Gabe! What are you talking about?
Stay away from the boat, Lil.
No, Gabe, let her get in, will you? I'll get her.
Sit down, Johnny, or I'll
Come on!
Sit down, I say.
Gabe!
Johnny saved my life once. All you did was try to get him to kill me. Anyhow, I'm the only man who can get this boat down the rapids, and for that I need Johnny.
All right. Go. Get out, both of you. I'll be a queen. And I'll love it. And I'll be worth millions.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew you'd say it, Lily. I knew you'd understand.
Here's an amazing fact for every motorist. The film of oil in your motor is often no thicker than a spider's web. But that thin film is all that saves your motor from destruction. That's why it's important for you to use the best motor oil you can get. We suggest Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil. Rich Lube is refined 100% from the finest Pennsylvania crude obtainable. Rich Lube protects your motor with a tough elastic oil film that holds its body even under the terrific heat of summer driving. At the same time, it draws excess heat away from moving engine parts. Moreover, Rich Lube, the Pennsylvania premium motor oil, contains special chemicals that clean your motor of harmful deposits as you drive. Yes, it cleans as it lubricates. So keep your motor clean. Keep your motor young. See your Richfield gasoline dealer tomorrow. Ask him to change your oil to Rich Lube all-weather motor oil. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight has presented Two Came Back by Jules Archer, adapted for radio by Savage Dollar. Featured in tonight's cast were Joan Banks as Lily, Stacey Harris as Johnny, Paul Freese as Gabe, and Ben Wright as the Trader. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are lost in the wildest mountains of Idaho, surrounded by a raging forest fire which is swiftly bringing a horrible death closer and closer to you. A death from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invites you to escape with an exciting story of love and murder in the wilds of Idaho, as Anthony Ellis tells it in The Red Forest. Be listening. Goodbye, then, until the same time next week when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.